RadioDeals.com traffic center. And let's get an update on the morning commute with Jim Talamonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. Much of the overnight road work is clearing across the Chicago area, but there's still some there on the westbound Adams Tollway, I-90 from Arlington Heights Road to 53. Right lane is closed till 6 this morning, and there's work on Arlington Heights Road at the Adams Tollway till 6 as well. Westbound 390 has work in the right lane past Plum Grove. There's work on the outbound Ryan Garfield 63rd in the 3 left lanes. Northwest Indiana, westbound 94 and eastbound 8094. The exits to the Indiana Toll Road are closed till 6 this morning. Starting today at Evergreen Park, 95th Street closes in Campbell and California for some rail crossing work till November 19th. Traffic is a service of Massage Envy. At Massage Envy Spa, they know there's nothing like relaxation. That's why their first-time guests can relax with a customized massage for only $49.99. A facial for only $59.99. Schedule today at Massage Envy Spa. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Mostly cloudy and windy today, gusts up to 30 miles per hour, high 71. Windy with gusts up to 30 miles per hour tonight with periods of rain and a thunderstorm with a low 50. Partial sunshine tomorrow, still windy with gusts up to 30 miles per hour, cooler with a high 55. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Sure, send the wind gust at 30 miles an hour today. I just raked yesterday. Currently 60 degrees outside. Next news at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Radio Garden Sense, a show bringing your property's gardening needs alive. Radio Garden Sense, Sunday mornings at 11 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
There is new information tonight about the focus of the criminal investigation now that the death of Lieutenant Gliniewicz has been ruled a suicide.
This is the first time as a law enforcement officer in my career that I felt ashamed.
It was unbelievable. My gosh, G.I. Joe went from a hero to a criminal. Yeah, it's sad.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. We'll take your calls, get your reactions to what we learned about Lieutenant Joe Gliniewicz yesterday. 312-642-5600 is the turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA is the turnkey.pro text line. I think there are a lot of people right now going through the Kubler-Ross stages of grief in terms of the image that they had of Joe Gliniewicz versus what I think it's safe to say we now know to be true from investigators who presented the evidence they had compiled over the last 9 weeks. Both the commander of the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force, George Falenko, as well as the Coroner Rudd from Lake County, stood before the press yesterday answering questions for the better part of an hour, laying out all the evidence that they had poured through and ultimately the report they had compiled. And I don't know what your reaction, Amy, was, but I was, once you got a sense of how much they went through in terms of the number of leads initially that they had to go through after the shooting in the hundreds, and then as it turned from away from a murder to a suicide to a criminal investigation, all of the emails and text messages that they had to go through, as well as the bank statements they had to requisition, and putting the entire case together in terms of what happened that led to Gliniewicz's death, and then this other part of his life that had heretofore gone unnoticed and unknown, at least by the public. To do all that in 9 weeks and the answers that Falenko gave at that press conference, I thought they did a pretty good job, actually.
Yeah, I feel as if we owe them an apology I was hard on them yesterday saying they knew this from day 2 that it was a suicide, but they had 6,500 pages of text messages from one phone alone, from his personal phone. Then they had to go through his work phone. Then they had to go through his Facebook and then his 2 computers that he owned. That's why they did not come out sooner with this information. So my apologies to them for making disparaging remarks against the crime task force, the task force in Northern Illinois, Major Crimes Task Force, because they've been working around the clock on this with the FBI, taking evidence to all the way to Quantico, Virginia, to the Illinois State Crime Lab to try and get this. But it is there's so many different layers to this story.
One thing on that too, just the one thing you mentioned in terms of one of the big questions, and you're right, there are myriad questions and a lot of answers, but there's still some unanswered questions. One of the questions going in, though, was when did investigators know or believe it was not a murder, it was a suicide? And Folenko answered that question. He said, look, it wasn't really until the last couple of weeks until everything came together. You can have suspicions, but your job as an investigator is not to run out to the press and say, here's what we suspect. It's to do this comprehensive, exhaustive investigation, come to a conclusion that is evidence-based, that you can back up and explain to the public when you present your final report. That's what he did. So I think there was some in that press corps yesterday with those questions. I don't know if you watched.
I watched the entire thing.
So, some of it was a little bit like it was
shouting match.
Well, it was like a congressional inquiry too, where you have people giving speeches, not asking questions, and a little bit of the moral indignation.
I have the inside scoop on that.
I think Folenko did his job.
Right. Oh, he did. But the reporters that were yelling at him, they're the reporters who had to change their Labor Day weekend plans and stay in Fox Lake. Okay. I know for sure one of them had a trip planned and they couldn't go, so they were upset.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
Oh, yeah. Poor people. But this man, I'm not even calling him a man. He is a monster. What he did to the people of Fox Lake and how he ripped them off for the past 7 years to the tune of 50,000 plus that we know of so far. Use the money to travel. Use the money for adult websites. Use the money to pay off his mortgage. And the thing that makes me even sicker is late last night I was speaking to investigators, and individual 1 and individual 2 are his family members. So when she's up there, his wife grieving, crying, all this poor, I lost my friend. She lost her co-conspirator.
Joe was my best friend, my world, my hero. The love of my life for the last 26 and a half years. He was my rock as much as I was his rock. Joe was.
So she knew, this is Melanie, his wife. She, according to my sources, is individual 1.
Well, and it's been reported that both his widow and his son are under investigation as part of this criminal investigation. So the Lieutenant Joe Glinowitz case may be over in terms of what happened. But the criminal investigation, not over.
No, Lake County Sheriff's Department has this information. They are the ones that are in charge of this angle of this investigation. And there's calls this morning from the 100 Club for the family to return the $15,000. I spoke with a resident of Fox Lake last night whose daughter emptied out her piggy bank, Dan, to donate money to this family. They had a GoFundMe page. They had people dropping money off in boots. Remember, right after the murder, there were firefighters who were standing on corners in Fox Lake and surrounding suburbs collecting money for this family to the tune of $200,000.
Well,
they need to give back that money this morning. And through their attorney last night, they said, we have no comment.
Well,
we're not going to be discussing
Well,
this.
You're right. They should definitely give back the money to the 100 Club that's for officers that are killed in the line of duty. Yeah. In addition to that, the money that was raised, I think they could do it one of two ways. Or they should be forced to do it one of two ways if they're not only forced by the law, and that's pending. And by the way, Folenko was restrained in answering questions about the pending investigation, including comments on the widow and Glinowitz's son, which was appropriate as well. But here's another idea. The money that they received, as well as the money they raised, since he apparently stole money from the Police Explorer program, which is for kids, and it's chartered by the Boy Scouts of America. Give the money back to the Explorer program in Fox Lake. Give the money to the Boy Scouts of America, including anything that you raised above and beyond what was taken by Glinowitz and perhaps others.
But it also, too, in these string of text messages, and I read through the ones that they handed out to reporters, in one point in time, he wanted to off the new village manager. Her name is Ann Marin. She came in about a year ago, and he didn't like her. He called her a power monger because she was trying to vet this program to figure out where's this money going. Where it's not going for new uniforms for the Explorers Club. And he wrote,
it was like a standard audit of municipal departments and programs.
Yeah.
And he was worried about it because apparently he was embezzling from it. So
Yes.
there's reason to be worried.
And she was so he was planning his retirement, but we have to shift the funds from one bank account to another bank account to hide the money. And in one instant, he said, hopefully, this is individual to his son. Hopefully, she decides to get a couple of drinks in her and she gets a DUI. And G.I. Joe responded in the text message, she does, but not around here. No one knows where. Trust me, I've thought through many scenarios from planting things to the Volo Bog. And the Volo Bog, from my police source, told me that's offing her off in the woods. Because Volo, there's a bog there and
there's a nice car museum.
There is.
I'd encourage you to check that out.
There's of the Volo, park area. That's where he would offer. And she responded yesterday.
I was stunned, a little afraid.
Yeah, just a little afraid. Her life was on the line.
She came up and read a prepared statement. She didn't take any questions, but she did read a prepared statement, and she was the target in many of these texts, one prime example you just offered.
The one Fox Lake officer I spoke with yesterday said they're all embarrassed. I mean, they've all taken down the blue ribbons. They've all taken down, people put lawn signs out, saying, Joe, now they put deceitful. Somebody put tagged an L on his forehead on one of the lawn signs last night. And here's George Falenko.
This is the first time as a law enforcement officer in my career that I felt ashamed by the acts of another police officer.
Yeah, and it's embarrassing. On a nationwide scale because people donated money from all over this country to help this family, this poor family. And I know they're suffering a loss. I've got that. But they were in on it.
Well,
and I can't wait for them to get arrested.
There are some text messages that have been released that seem to be a bit incriminating, particularly one between Gliniewicz and his son that I saw at least. But they have not been arrested yet. They have not been charged with anything.
So. The one where he says, I'll loan you $2,377 to fix your truck.
Well,
but you have to come, and only to help you accommodate your summer leave trip to Oklahoma.
No, the one where he says to his son on June 25th, text to his son, you are borrowing money from that quote-unquote other account. When you get back, you'll have to start dumping money into that account or you will be visiting me in jail. That seems to indicate malice aforethought in terms of the money laundering, frankly, that was going on as well, apparently from the evidence presented by Falenko and that Major Crimes Task Force. So
and to think
it's distressing.
Yeah, he used his police training to stage his own suicide. I mean, it was brilliant. If you look at the map that they provided, and I went through it with one of the investigators last night. So he dropped, he parked
all
near
the
that
pieces.
concrete plate. Yeah, he dropped his pepper spray. Then 6 feet away from that, he dropped his baton. Then he smashed his glasses a few feet away from that. And then, fired the 2 shots, one into his bulletproof vest and his cell phone, and then the other one underneath his vest.
Yeah.
To make it look like it was murder.
Doesn't seem like it's so brilliant now, does it?
No.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
But he erased, so my source told me he erased all these 6,500 text messages in the morning before he committed suicide, thinking that no one's going to find him. I know, 312-642-5600 is our number. I think this is the craziest story I've ever heard of.
Well, it's a sad story, and before we get too much into the space of moral indignation with those that celebrated or memorialized Lieutenant Joe, I mean, you have to remember the reason they did is because of this image that was presented, and people want to believe there are heroes in this world, and they thought that Lieutenant Joe was one of them. There are heroes in this world. He just turned out not to be one of them. We'll take your calls after this, 312-642-5600.
See Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland at Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th. Tickets on sale at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Today, mostly cloudy, windy, mild, a high of 71 degrees. Then tomorrow, it's back to reality. It's going to be partly sunny, windy, and a lot cooler, a high in the mid-50s. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. Inbound Ryan, we're seeing our first early morning delay. A little heavy, 18th into downtown. Just a 2-minute delay. Bishop Ford, just a little congestion approaching the merge. There is... On the outbound, Ryan, road work still in place. 3 left lanes are closed. The locals from Garfield to 63rd. No real delay there, though. There's work on Arlington Heights Road at the Adams Tollway and on the Adams Tollway. Westbound I-90 from Arlington Heights Road to 53 in the right lane. The ramps from eastbound 8094 and westbound 94 to the Indiana Toll Road are closed, but should be reopening in the next 30 or 40 minutes. Detours are posted. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Tom Sadeka, CEO of Precision Payroll of America. We're the 32-year-old company whose first employee and first client are still working together. Every chance I get, we like to thank our active duty military and our veterans. In addition, we proudly serve and support Operation Support Our Troops America.
Thanks, Tom. I'm Deb Rickert, founder of OSAD America, mom of 2 service members, and 1 happy Precision Payroll client. We are so happy to work with Tom's team at Precision Payroll to take care of those regulatory headaches so that we can focus on serving our active duty and veteran communities. Your support is so important. Thank you.
Deb, thanks for all you do. And anybody who's listening who signs up with us, we will make a donation to OSAT America on their behalf. So please call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. Or on the web at precisionpayroll.com. Let's make a difference together.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
I hate veggies, so this was a perfect way to get vitamins and veggies that worked with my body.
I do feel better, but as far as health-wise goes, I used to have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. I'm not doing that anymore. The ringing in my ear is a lot less than what it used to be. Those are the 2 things right away that I noticed, and I'm not as hungry as I used to be also.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
The statements and views of this advertiser do not represent the views or opinions of this station.
Y chromosome Adam and mtDNA Eve, GodSaidManSaid.com. And there we saw giants, the sons of Anak, the perfect diet, GodSaidManSaid.com. God on biracial marriage, hours of text and audio, 3-day Bible fast, renews immune system. Which Bible? Which religion? Sin bones, GodSaidManSaid.com.
You're a small to mid-sized business with 300 to 3,000 employees. You face the same network security challenges as big businesses do, but can't support a big IT investment, leaving your doors open to advanced cyber threats. Barracuda next-generation firewalls provide all the core features of enterprise firewalls and UTMs, but without hidden costs and deployment hurdles, making owning a big business firewall no big deal for your SMB. Reclaim your network. Try a Barracuda Next Gen Firewall risk-free at barracuda.com/firewalls. AM 560.
The answer. Dan and Amy, I'll tell you what, the Lieutenant Joe case, as I was watching a press conference, had called to mind. Did you see the movie Seabiscuit?
Yeah.
Remember Jeff Bridges, right, who owns Seabiscuit, who played the owner of Seabiscuit in the movie? He said of War Admiral in advance of their big match, show me something that's perfect, and I'll show you something that's not perfect. Let's go to Greg in LaGrange. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, I would just, again, the rush to judgment to indict the wife and the son is just hold off a little bit. I mean, they may be guilty, but this whole leaking and this whole, I've seen this text and that text and the speculation, Amy, of, if they're guilty, believe me, I hope they're nailed to a cross. But let's hold off a little bit, I mean, let's not rush to judgment. Everybody wants their cakes and eat it too.
This isn't a rush to judgment. They handed out the information at the press conference, individual 1, individual 2, and then later told me it was their family members.
They haven't been arrested.
Going to be
wait.
They're going to be getting arrested.
Well, that's a possibility. Thanks for the call, Greg. And let's not nail them.
Unless they give the
if they're
money
guilty,
back.
let's not nail them to the cross. Let's just send them to jail.
Okay.
I know that was metaphorical.
Yes.
But yes. Dan and Gurnee, police officer.
Hi, Dan and Amy. This guy absolutely disgusts me. Not only did he steal, but he endangered the lives of all the police officers that responded lights and sirens. He endangered the lives of those 2 white guys, the black guy who he accused, who could have been shot. Maybe when they went to stop them, they made a movement or something, and he's doing all this. I have no sympathy for him. I have no sympathy for his family.
Yeah, and thanks for the call, Dan.
And I have the inside scoop finally on the 3 people. They are real.
Well, one other thing.
Should we talk about it?
Yeah, no, but just one other thing on the Lieutenant Joe.
Uh-huh.
He's also a coward.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well, he's a selfish pig.
well, right.
He used taxpayers' money for adult websites. At least they weren't gay porn sites or child porn sites. They were. Ashley Madison was one of them. I found out yesterday.
Well, it's how he decided to take himself out because he didn't want to be accountable for what he did, and now he leaves this wreckage behind, including what happened in the immediate aftermath of his death, as Dan from Gurnee just described.
And it's strange because some neighbors are still standing behind him.
Irregardless of the way that he died or how he died or the manner that it happened, I don't think that we can erase the 30 years of work that he put in the community.
But others, again, they took down the blue ribbons, and some people wrote lies, stole, disgraced on his lawn signs because everybody in Fox Lake had a lawn sign out for Lieutenant Joe.
And also, just a point of order, irregardless. It's regardless.
Okay.
So if you could communicate
Oh
back
my
to that
God,
neighbor.
Dan.
I just want to get that
Thank you.
on the record.
All right, thanks.
Just because people are upset doesn't mean you have to use improper grammar.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Oh, well, duly noted.
I'm really on the meat of the case here. Dennis in Villa Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, they keep on forgetting about the fact that this guy was forced retired. That was the initial thing. He was being forced retired. So that means that thing was going on back then. That's why they got rid of him, which means the investigation into his wrongdoing started a long time ago. So they knew all about that stuff. Now, with him being killed, that's where they had to determine whether or not it was suicide or if he was murdered. But for them to say that they just became aware of all this other stuff is baloney. They've known about it. That's why he's not working anymore.
Thanks for the call, Dennis. I'm not
He's been doing this for 7 years, and the new village manager, she was getting the old people out. That's why they were looking into, seeing if they could retire, what kind of package they were offering. But he still wanted to do the Explorer program because he still wanted the money.
Yeah, but I think it's unfair. There's no evidence to suggest that Falenko and the Major Crimes Task Force in Lake County knew
they didn't.
Before they launched this entire investigation precipitated by his death. So I don't think that's fair to say they knew and they're pretending not to know. I don't think that's true.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Nothing frustrates me more than liberal hypocrisy. Take our food, for example. The left claims to care about the poor and the environment, but guess what? They're waging a silent war against America's farmers that is making our food supply more costly and less sustainable. America's family farmers are producing more food using less land and fewer resources than ever before. Now, they should be cheered, but instead, radical groups are working with government bureaucrats to crack down on our farmers and limit the tools and technology that they're allowed to use. Now, the result is higher food costs for you, the American consumer, and low-income families, they're hit the hardest. Now, thankfully, someone is fighting back. Protect the Harvest is a national coalition working to defend modern American agriculture. You can check them out at protecttheharvest.com and follow them on Facebook to get the very latest news and see how you can help. Don't let radical activists control your family's food choices. Visit protecttheharvest.com today.
For missing teeth, dental implants are wonderful. The advantages are fantastic. They really are just like your original ones. What you probably don't know is that not all implants are the same quality, and there are a lot of unqualified people doing implants.
This is Brian DeWolf. I have 2 implants from Fox River Periodontics. I had one. I was happy with it. So I had another one done, and I love them. The idea of dentures didn't appeal to me at all. I didn't want that appliance in my mouth. These implants are wonderful. They're just like your real teeth, and they're probably even better because there's no nerve attached to them, so there's no pain, and they last forever. Dr. Neruzzi is great, and his staff is wonderful, and I trust him completely. If you're looking for dental implants, or considering dental implants for a missing tooth or for a whole mouthful, talk to Dr. Neruzzi. He'll be happy you did, and Fox River Periodontics.
Just remember, implantsforme.com. Implantsforme.com.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
So, Dan, the 3 men were real, but I'll tell you the real story just after Mike Scott's news, and we'll take more of your phone calls, 312-642-5600.
And then at 5:45, the U.S. government paying professional sports teams to honor soldiers. We'll have that story.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, authorities say an Illinois officer who staged his own death to look like others killed him in the line of duty felt auditors were closing in and close to discovery. that he had been embezzling money from a youth program he oversaw.
We have determined this stage suicide was the end result of extensive criminal acts that Gliniewicz had been committing.
Lake County Major Crimes Task Force Commander George Falenko says the village of Fox Lake was already conducting an internal audit.
Gliniewicz committed the ultimate betrayal to the citizens he served and the entire law enforcement community. He behaved for years in a manner completely contrary to the image he portrayed.
Gliniewicz was found dead with gunshot wounds September 1st after radioing in to dispatchers. He was pursuing 3 suspicious men. This morning, there's word the wife and son of Gliniewicz are also under investigation connected to the case. U.S. intelligence officials believe the Russian airliner that crashed in Egypt last week was brought down by a bomb on that plane. The crash has killed over 220 and has sent ripples through Britain, where Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond says he expects British tourists to be flown back from Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, beginning tomorrow, but only after security is tightened at the resort's airport. A gunman at a rooftop apartment in San Diego interrupted air traffic on the West Coast for nearly 4 hours yesterday. The gunman surrendered after more than 5 hours standoff. The gunman's bullets narrowly missed officers. No one was hurt.
And he will be booked into jail for numerous charges, including attempt murder of several police officers.
Police Chief Shelley Zimmerman identified the suspect as Titus Colbert. NBC this morning is apologizing for a YouTube link that features Donald Trump promoting his upcoming appearance on Saturday Night Live. The Peacock Network says the link had 3 SNL promos that weren't meant for air, including one in which Trump bashes presidential rival Ben Carson.
Donald Trump is hosting Saturday Night Live this week with musical guest Sia. And because of equal time rules for television, Mr. Trump can only speak for 4 seconds in this promo.
So let me just say this. Ben Carson is a complete and total loser.
The other promos mostly feature cast members Cecily Strong and Trump hyping the week's show. Chicago police are questioning a person of interest in the shooting death of 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee. Chicago police have also used DNA and help from the FBI to identify a dismembered toddler found in a lagoon in September as that of 2-year-old Kyrian Knox of Rockford. Chicago sports last night, the Blues beat the Blackhawks 6-5 in overtime. The news, a service of Gerber Collision and Glass. Stop by one of the nearly 60 Chicagoland locations to see why Gerber comes so highly recommended. Check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
My wife, Helene, she knows me better than anybody on this planet. Ask her anything.
The Joe Walsh Show.
I just have one quick question. Is he always angry?
No. You know what? When we're at home, we're actually very quiet. He's not angry. I'm the one he has to calm me down half the time.
You're killing the image, Helene.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Don't listen to a damn word she says. I'm always pissed off.
Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer is the top choice of doctors and nurses nationwide and should be yours. With one scan to the forehead, Exergen Temporal Scanner provides an accurate temperature, stress-free. Available at Walgreens.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep REM sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
To get your 2 MyPillows for the price of one, call 800-489-0201 and please use the promo code Amy. Or you can go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code Amy. That's 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Either way, don't forget the promo code AMY.
537 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Let's get the latest this morning with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Ryan Expressway, you're looking at a 4 or 5 minute delay now from the Stevenson into downtown. Outbound, there's still road work in the locals from Garfield to 63rd. 3 left lanes are closed. Prepare to slow down, but there's no backup. On Bishop 4, you've got a 3-minute delay from 103rd to the merge. The other expressways and tollways are still looking good. Roadwork is clearing a bit earlier in northwest Indiana, where 80, 94, and 94 meet the Indiana Toll Road. And traffic is a service of WesternUnion.com's mobile app. You might be stuck in traffic, but your money shouldn't be. Send money around the world 24/7 with the Western Union mobile app. Download the app and send your money fast. Next time you need to send money quickly, get out of a jam and tap the Western Union app. It's money. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Cloudy, windy, mild today. High near 71, ahead of a cooler day tomorrow with a high of 55. 60 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 6. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
312-642-5600 is our number. We're talking about the G.I. Joe staged suicide. The ultimate betrayal is what they're calling it. And
yesterday, 3 people, these 2 whites and the black that he identified in his call dispatch, this was in dispute, whether these people even existed.
Yes, it was. And I questioned them before because I kept asking the investigators, well, tell me more about this. Was it really a black guy with 2 white guys walking around near an abandoned concrete plant? And the 3 men do exist.
Yeah.
But I now know the real story. Are you ready for this? You're only going to hear this here, Dan. G.I. Joe's squad car was, they put a GPS tracking system in it a week before. None of the Fox Lake police officers' cars had tracking systems. So they went back and looked at his GPS to see where he was at what time. He left his house at about 7 in the morning.
This is the day of his
This is the day
death.
of his death. Yeah, his suicide. And he drove down Route 12 by some restaurants, and he saw 2 white men and an African American, but they were businessmen. They were meeting at a restaurant to have a business meeting. These were men, not teenage kids, and their alibi checked out.
Right.
Their credit card was, everything checked out. The waitress at the restaurant said, no,
yes,
they were here.
we know they didn't do it.
So, but they're not from Fox Lake. They're not from there. They were meeting there to talk business. They were adults, not children. And of course they didn't do it. But he saw them while he was driving to his staged suicide and said, I saw there's a white guy and a black guy. I'll just use them. And that was miles apart from where it was. So yes, a black man and 2 white people do hang out in Fox Lake.
Wow. So
I'm apologizing for that too.
Are they? Do they get some kind of award or distinction by being the first black and white people to hang out together in Fox Lake now, or are they going to get a key to the village?
Does this egg on my face, my cheekbones look high? Yeah.
Well,
so I just wanted to come clean with that because I had a long conversation with investigators yesterday about that angle that I took on the case, that he threw in a black guy for good measure because of a police officer in Houston getting killed by a black man.
Right. And Falenko kind of referenced that in the press conference yesterday where he said, where he essentially suggested what you just reported. So,
but they were grown men having breakfast.
They actually exist, not fictional, not part of some conspiratorial cover-up. So glad we got that squared away.
They weren't fishing on a pier.
Right. Because those are the 2 black guys, the only 2 black guys in Fox Lake that actually live in Fox Lake. They fish on a pier,
yes, they hang out together.
According to your cartoonish caricature of Fox Lake. Yes, thank you. Ed in Oak Brook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable making this call because it's going to seem like I'm condoning the action of this officer, but I'm not. What embarrasses me or what upsets me about it is Amy is in such a lather over this case. Would she be happy if these family members killed themselves as well? In a state of corruption that is so rampant, it's in the billions of dollars, $50,000 for what this guy did, it really doesn't really add to much. It's just another black eye onto the state, and I'm not condoning it. But if you want the people to just kill themselves, the family members, why don't you just say that, Amy, and get it over with?
No, Ed,
you don't have to drag this story out over and over again.
Ed, I want them to give the money back. Do the
why
right
don't
thing.
Quinn give back the money that he stole when he bought votes to win the last election?
Well,
and what about Madigan ripping off the state for
yeah.
billions of dollars a year?
I mean,
you're so worked up over this case. You know, let it go. Let the authorities handle the case and let it go. You don't have to make a whole show about this officer and his family. It's really terrible, and I'm not condoning it, but let it go.
Thanks for the call, Ed. I mean, to be fair, this is a national case not just because of what occurred in Fox Lake, but because of the national response to what occurred. So, we do have to make an issue of this, and particularly in the climate right now where you're talking about the relationship between police and those they serve and protect, this is an important case.
Yeah,
so,
it is. It's money
it's
laundering. It is the ultimate betrayal. And his wife, Melanie, she was on with CNN 2 weeks ago where she still did not believe that her husband committed suicide.
There were 2 shots. Somebody that is going to kill themselves is not going to shoot themselves twice.
Well,
But he did to make it look like a murder.
Yes. I mean, look.
It was a methodical, well-planned
Yes,
suicide.
But family members in denial over something like a suicide, not unusual.
Yeah. And he has 4 sons, and one of his sons spoke, with the Daily Herald.
I know my father. My family knows my father, and his closest friends knew him as well. He was not someone who ever contemplated suicide. He never had suicidal tendencies or anything like that.
Well, and what his son said was a pretty good read on his father. And you heard from Falenko yesterday at the press conference, the commander in charge of this investigation, that he didn't want to be put into this place, Lieutenant Glinowitz. The walls were closing in on him, and thus he took this drastic and frankly absurd action, selfish action, cowardly action, not only to kill himself, but also the elaborate ruse that he attempted to foist off on the people he served and, frankly, the nation, as it turned out.
And this morning, there's calls for them to give back the $15,000 at least to the 100 Club.
Well, they should, obviously.
And also, she's not going to get the line of duty death benefits that she was given. The city's going to, or the village is going to take that money back too.
Well, but
that still leaves $300,000+ that people donated to them.
Well, depending on the life insurance policy, some life insurance policies cover suicide, some don't. But yes,
and she will get his pension. I found out, unless people try to stop that. But I heard yesterday that they're not going to try and take his pension away. That she'll receive that.
Well, we'll see.
And I'm okay with that, but I just still think that
we'll see what happens if it turns out, and this is an open question, that she was part of any criminal activity. They may rethink the desire to revoke his pension, which the Police and Fire Commission can move to do.
But I just think of little Susie who emptied out her piggy bank and gave money to that family.
And by the way, on the pension, this was a guy making north of $90,000. He was about to retire, $86,000 a year. His pension was going to be rough numbers. And in terms of the rest of the money, yeah, I mean, the correct thing to do, obviously, the moral thing to do would be to make the Police Explorers program whole. Mm-hmm. And I would say donate any excess money to the Boy Scouts of America, which is the charter organization for the Police Explorers. But that's just me. Tim.
Why don't you contact the family? That's a good plan.
Yeah, I don't think they'll take my call. Tim on the Dan Ryan here on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. Hey, Amy, you got to decide what you are. Are you a radio host or are you a reporter? You keep citing sources like you're some big investigative reporter.
I have sources. I worked on the streets for 12 years.
Are you writing articles? No, you're not. You're
writing
just a
tweets.
Radio host. You're not a reporter.
Move this man!
Tim, that's not what we're discussing. You can have your own opinion, but that's not what we're discussing. We're discussing what the family should do to make the village and the people in Fox Lake whole again, because people are angry right now and they don't know what to do with their anger. I mean, people were tagging his signs that were on front lawns with a loser sign on his face writing disgrace because they're upset because he was their hero.
Chris and Aurora, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Amy, why don't you just apologize on the half hour for the entire show rather than one time when the show starts when no one's listening and everybody's still asleep for your bad journalism and your attack against the police department for the facts that you had to have that instant when it all was unfolding?
Which I apologize. I said,
Thanks
you know
for the
what?
call, Chris.
I came down hard on them yesterday saying they knew from day 2 that this was a suicide. Why didn't they tell people? But they had to get all the information. They had to go through 6,500 pages of text messages just from one phone.
Thanks. Philip in Blue Island, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Amy, I don't know why they're coming down on you. I believe that the family was comfortable. After 10 years of especially the wife, knows that the husband is corrupt, knows that there's money coming into the family. They're taking trips. They're paying rent, their mortgages on this money that's being stolen. So, I know your listeners, because it's the white cop and everybody loves cops.
Okay, Philip. Now you need to apologize. Thanks for the call, Philip. Yeah, we're defending it because it's nobody's defending the white cop or anything he did. I think what you're hearing from callers is a rush to judgment that is fact-free, and some people don't like when that's done. I happen to be one of them.
Don't miss Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 on November 14th with Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland. Get your tickets at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Today, mostly cloudy, windy, and mild. Get out and enjoy because we're probably not going to see the 70s for a long time. A high today of 71 degrees. Then tonight, we have a chance of a rain or thunderstorm, and the cold weather moves in with that. Tomorrow, a big difference. Partly sunny, windy, and a high of 55. Let's see where the cars are. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning. Morning, Dan. Inbound ride. Pretty slow early from 31st into the Burn Circle. 22 minutes. 95th to downtown. Outbound fine at 15. Roadwork is clearing now out of the locals between Garfield and 63rd. Edens is fine. The Kennedy 2. Inbound Eisenhower, you've got about a 1-minute delay. Manheim to 1st. Stevenson, a 1 or 2 minute delay. Pulaski to Kedzie. I-57, a 5-minute delay from 107th to the Rhine. Bishop Ford, about a 3 or 4 minute delay starting at 115th. The northbound Tri-State getting heavy at 290. The other expressways and tollways look good for now. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
You've heard me talking about the new website, upstream-ideas.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, then you're missing thoughtful expository content you won't find anywhere else from those who have operated in the political and policy arenas. Each week you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current, this week with Steve Moore, which is our long-form interview series with policymakers and opinion leaders. You can watch Illinois by the Numbers. This week, the rating BAA1. Find out what it means, why it's important. Illinois by the Numbers is our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what we can do about them. And you can check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising, which tackles state and local politics and policy with deep thinkers from the Illinois Policy Institute and Illinois Opportunity Project. No sacred cows, no punches pulled. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Chicago. This is a city of hardworking, dedicated people. So when you need a team to design, construct, and finish your project on time and on budget, look no further than to CPMH Construction. CPMH Construction is a full-service construction company specializing in commercial and industrial projects, along with sewer, excavation, and parking lot design. This MBE-certified business uses the technology you want and puts it in the hands of their skilled crew of tradesmen. Tradesmen who are loaded with the know-how and experience to address every detail of your job, meeting your standard of excellence. At CPMH, client satisfaction is the foundation of their success, which is why 97% of their clients return for additional services. Call CPMH today at 312-929-2345. That's 312-929-2345. Or visit cpmhconstruction.com and let them develop and implement a plan that ensures you the success of your next big project.
This is Sam Gilberto, president of American Embroidery and Screen Printing and American Marketing Products. We specialize in putting your logo on just about anything. Our focus is entirely on you, our customer. We want every customer experience to be outstanding. American Embroidery and Screen Printing is a brick-and-mortar business located in Glendale Heights. Our equipment and manufacturing processes are state-of-the-art, so are the people who work here. With over 40 years' experience, we have the capability, capacity, and know-how to get your job done right and on time. I want to earn your business, so for a limited time, we're offering free artwork on embroidery and screen printing orders for all new customers. Let us help you gear up for that big trade show, provide shirts or jackets for all your employees, students, or church members, or simply provide you with giveaway items such as coffee mugs, pens, or hats. Whatever it is, you can trust an American to take care of it. It's easy to contact us. TrustAnAmerican.com. That's TrustAnAmerican.com, or call at 630-766-2825.
One of the hardest things to accomplish as a small business owner or healthcare professional is identifying how to take your business to that next level. Fortunately, you can rest easy knowing you're not the only one. On Tuesday, November 10th, a healthcare summit and business event is coming to Drury Lane in Oak Brook. This summit will provide a unique opportunity for small business owners and healthcare leaders to network, showcase, and work together to transform the region's marketplace into the best in the nation. It provides a fantastic forum to introduce your business and make valuable connections, all while learning and growing in your community. Last year, this event drew over 2,000 participants, and it's expected to draw even higher this year. Use this experience to better your trade and take part in educational sessions. Listen to inspirational speakers and partake in the vendor fair and expo. Register today and grab booth space while you still can by visiting thebusinessevent.com. That's thebusinessevent.com. Sponsored by the Metropolitan Chicago Healthcare Council, Jewish B2B, and the Small Business Advocacy Council.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, oh my gosh, the apologies are flowing in so many different directions. Amy's apologized. Other people wanted to apologize more. Now Ken from the North Side wants to apologize to Amy.
For what?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hi.
I just wanted to tell you, Amy, I'm sorry. Yesterday I called you up and actually accused you of being a racist for what you said. And I got a feeling that you were more right on this than I was. You felt that this cop was a bad guy, and you knew it, and I think you were mad about that. And that's why you said what you said. And I was wrong. I misinterpreted, what his actions were. And he's a bad guy, and, he's where he's at because of that.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call,
There's
Ken.
a special place in hell for him. And I think what people realize when they start reading these text messages between G.I. Joe and Individual 1, which we've learned is his wife, and Individual 2, which is his son.
One of his sons.
One of his sons.
4.
Yeah. He has 4 sons. One's in high school, and it's not the one in high school, folks. But he wanted to kill the village manager. She was investigating and looking into his Explorers program, and he said that he was going to plant evidence on her. He tried to get her going outside of a bar to nab her for a DUI. But he also said he was going to volo bog her, which is cop speak for off her in the forest preserve. Make it look like she's committed suicide when is actually he was planning his own suicide.
Yeah, the old volo bog.
The old volo. So if you ever say to me, Dan, I'm going to volo bog you,
Then,
I know what you're talking about.
Then you know.
But
Yes.
residents this morning, there's mixed reaction in Fox Lake because, some are clearly very upset because they feel duped in so many ways. They gave money to this family. They went to his funeral. It was an 18-mile procession for his funeral. Governor Ronner came in. They gave him, a 21-gun salute. They played taps. They had a flyover. It was just so extravagant. And
Yeah, but that is all on Lieutenant Glinowitz. That is not on those individuals who responded to the events of his death.
Yeah, but they just feel as if
They
it was
feel
all
defrauded.
a lie.
They should, yes.
It was unbelievable. My gosh, G.I. Joe went from a hero to a criminal. Yeah, it's sad.
All right, Frank in West Chicago.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in this Folenko. Everybody knows that you don't decide a case based on gut feelings or a hunch. But to say that they didn't suspect suicide until the last week or two, that is an absolute lie. That's why the report.
Well, but I don't think that's what he said at the press conference. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought Folenko said we kind of knew, in other words, connected all the dots, concluded suicide. I think you probably had people suspecting within hours of his death after they looked at the scene, the evidence at the scene. But it's a very, very different thing to conclude it, to put everything together and say, okay, this is definitive. Now we turn it over the corner. He concludes suicide as well. We've got it all wrapped up in a bow. That's an important distinction, I think.
Well, he was on this, it's a homicide, it's a homicide, it's a homicide, until he absolutely couldn't have no way out of it. That's why some of the reporters yesterday were attacking him for his deliberate misleading. I used to work for guys like him. I know the way they spin and rope-a-dope and dodge and weave and choose their words and, put this spin on it to protect their self or their own interests. But, he is not a truthful person.
All right. Thanks for the call, Frank.
Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland at Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th. Tickets on sale at freedomsummitchicago.com.
He quotes borrowers' interest rates and closing costs so low that his competition gave up and started sending their resumes to Townstone Financial. He helped one of his borrowers sell her home and purchase a new property just by watching TV in her living room during an open house. He once helped a retired woman obtain a reverse mortgage when she was about to lose her house. She later asked him to marry her. When he tells you something about a refinance or a purchase, it's not an answer, but a fact. The big banks he competes against fear his every move. He is the most interesting mortgage banker in the world.
My name is Barry Sterner, owner of Townstone Financial. Loans don't always get approved or handled the right way, but when they do, it's because you called Townstone Financial. So call me, Barry Sterner, 312-896-2111. That's 312-896-2111, or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financial is an Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Illinois mortgage licensee 6629 and NMLS 136639. Equal housing lender.
This is Dr. David Kolbaba. You know, you can improve your health and keep it that way through progressive testing. The typical black box approach in this country of ours is nothing more, well, it's nothing more than letting you crash your body into some sickness or disease, and you're left searching the wreckage for that black box. And then after the fact, you're treated with risky drugs, surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation, leaving you more compromised by the treatment. With progressive testing, we can uncover an existing problem or weakness in your body even before you experience any sign or symptom. And then we'll take a more natural approach, specifically targeting the compromised organ or system, restoring your health once and for all. Over time, then we'll retest your body to verify your strategy is working. Call our HealthQuest radio hotline and tell us about a specific health concern, and we'll let you know what specific progressive assessment is best for a healthier you. Call 1-800-794-1855. Remember, your road to better health doesn't have to be predicated on sickness or disease. 1-800-794-1855.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, new problems for the Trump campaign, and it's all centers around a tweet. We'll explain.
And there's a bounty on Trump for before his SNL appearance on Saturday night. Also, Quentin Tarantino doubles down on his anti-cop rhetoric. We'll have that at 6:16.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're watching right now. Authorities say an officer's death was a carefully staged suicide. And there is a report that Officer Joe Glenowitz's wife and son are also under investigation as questions continue to be raised around his death. Police are also questioning a person of interest in the shooting of a 9-year-old on Chicago's South Side. And Oscar Mayer says, yes, they are moving back to Chicago. Cloudy, windy, and mild today. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Was there evil in the sky?
There's a very good likelihood that this was a bomb, some type of explosive on the plane.
Republican Congressman Peter King. Britain agrees a bomb may have taken that Russian plane down in the Egyptian desert, killing 224 people.
The British government says 3,500 UK tourists were due to fly to Sharm el-Sheikh today. This is the popular resort from where the Russian plane took off. But those tourists are going nowhere, with flights between the UK and Sharm suspended.
We believe there's a significant possibility that the aircraft could have been brought down by an explosive device.
British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond saying UK experts are now examining Egyptian airport security. Egypt condemning the British move as an overreaction. In London, Simon Owen, Fox News.
Donald Trump's clinging to a 3-point lead over Ben Carson in a new Fox Republican presidential poll as Trump starts airing ads today in Iowa and New Hampshire. He'll get a free 90-minute commercial this weekend, though some are trying to stop his Saturday Night Live appearance. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Holding signs saying, "Stop the hate, dump Trump." Protesters gathered outside NBC headquarters in Manhattan, calling on the network to cancel the Republican presidential candidate's appearance this weekend on Saturday Night Live.
He is not going to brag or say he's the best at anything, right, Donald?
That's right, Cecily, and I'm going to do the best job anyone's ever done not saying it.
Activists have gathered more than 500,000 signatures on a petition asking NBC Universal to find someone else to host a show. Dave?
Rachel, a 6-year-old boy is dead in Louisiana, and state police want answers. Jeremy Martis was caught in the line of fire, shot Tuesday night as city marshals in Marksville chased his father, who drove off as they tried to serve him a warrant in his car.
It's detrimental to the community, to the police officers, to everybody involved.
involved.
State Trooper Scott Moreau. In Oakland, Maine, a gunman killed 3 people in a house and then killed himself. Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Cloudy and 59 degrees, 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. Authorities say a Fox Lake officer who staged his own death to make it look like others killed him in the line of duty felt auditors were close to discovering he had been embezzling money from a youth police program.
We have determined this staged suicide was the end result of extensive criminal acts that Glenowitz had been committing.
Lake County Major Crimes Task Force Commander George Falenko says the village of Fox Lake was conducting an internal audit that Police Lieutenant Joseph Glenowitz believed would lead to him. This morning, there's also word that his wife and son are under investigation connected with the Glenowitz crimes, and some in Fox Lake say they're in the process of still being able to sift through the news that a police officer they had celebrated as a fallen hero killed himself after embezzling money. An organization that assists survivors of officers killed in the line of duty is asking the family of Joseph Glenowitz. The 100 Club is asking them to return its donation as CEO Joe Ahern presented a check to the officer's widow for $15,000. Ahern telling the Tribune this is the first time the organization has requested the return of a donation. DNA testing done by the FBI may have cleared up a mystery surrounding a discovery in the Chicago Park Lagoon of body parts belonging to a toddler. The FBI saying the body parts were that of 2-year-old Kirian Knox of Rockford. Chicago police are questioning a person of interest in the shooting death of 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee. Authorities say a person showed up with a lawyer to police headquarters yesterday to be interviewed. Mayor Rahm Emanuel crediting Chicago's workforce and its transportation network for a decision by Kraft Heinz to move Oscar Mayer's headquarters to the city from Madison, Wisconsin. And 2 of the 13 Target stores slated for closing early next year are in Illinois. Target stores in Calumet City and McHenry will close January 30th. The news, a service of Veritiv, hiring drivers. Enjoy great hours, great people, great equipment, and local routes close to home. It all adds up to a great driving career with Veritiv. Get started at drive4v.com. That's drive, the number 4, letter V.com. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
One event. One day only. One day only. With all of these names together. Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, K.T. McFarland, Katie Pavlich, and Guy Benson. It's Freedom Summit Chicago 2015, November 14th in Itasca. Tickets begin at just $29 and are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. Don't miss this exclusive event. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
Stop into your nearest Lowe's store today and see why their newest wet dry vac is clearly different. Shop Vac, genuine American original. The following is a paid political announcement.
I am Willie Wilson, candidate for President of the United States. As your president, we must take care of our country first.
Paid for by Willie Wilson 2016.
Cornerstone National Bank believes trust, service, and relationship is the foundation of a business banking partnership. Cornerstone National Bank and Trust Company, where you belong. Visit cornerstonenb.com. Member FDIC.
In 2015, the Huskies look to defend their Mid-American Conference Championship.
The MAC championship belongs to Northern Illinois.
Led by sophomore quarterback Drew Hare.
Drew Hare is going to keep it. Hare angles left. Hare into the end zone.
Catch all of the action right here on the Husky Sports Network.
Tune in Wednesday, November 11th at 7 p.m. as the Huskies take on the Buffalo Bulls. Right here on AM 560, The Answer.
6:06 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. Let's get the latest on the roads this morning with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike and Joliet. 30 is closed right now at Hennepin Drive due to a car fire there. It's heavy on the expressways to the south. Inbound Ryan slow from the merge to 79th and stop and go from Pershing to downtown. 27 minutes, 95th to the loop. I-57, 22 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop 426. The Edens is still fine. Kennedy outbound, you've got a 2-minute delay Foster to Sayre. And Von Eisenhower, slow Manheim to Harlem. 41 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 33. Stevenson is 38 minutes from 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Traffic is a service of RCN Entertainment Redefined. Get RCN's award-winning MegaFast 155 internet. Plus watch TV anywhere with RCN to go, all for as low as $55.94 per month. It's MegaFast-tastic. RCN Entertainment Redefined. 1-800-RING-RCN or RCN.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly cloudy, windy, and mild with a high 71. Windy and mild tonight with periods of rain and a thunderstorm with a low 50. Then tomorrow, partly sunny, windy, and cooler with a high 55. Clearing cooler at night, low 37. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
59 O'Hare, 61 along the lake. Next news, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560 The Answer. Brought to you by Pure Shale Financial Group.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
There is new information tonight about the focus of the criminal investigation now that the death of Lieutenant Glenowitz has been ruled a suicide.
This is the first time as a law enforcement officer in my career that I felt ashamed.
Hi, I'm Donald Trump, and I'll be hosting Saturday Night Live this week.
I'm outraged that Saturday Night Live has invited a racist to be its host.
We want justice. Well, stop shooting unarmed people. But they don't want to deal with that. They would rather start arguments with celebrities.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. So Donald Trump.
A little bit of hot water this morning.
Well, coming to Illinois.
Yeah, I heard he's coming to Springfield.
Springfield, Monday night for a rally, 7 o'clock at the Springfield Convention Center. So I assume you'll make the, 200-mile drive down to Springfield to see Trump.
Car drives itself down I-55.
It really does.
Yeah. I love those windmills, too. Now.
Yes, right. War of the Worlds. So Trump, in advance of his hosting of Saturday Night Live Saturday night, there's a new group, and we'll get to his tweets in a second, and his promos for SNL and all these other things. But I want to start with this group, Deport Racism 2016 hashtag. It's a new PAC, and they apparently are run by former Packer Charles Martin. Remember him? He's the one who slammed McMahon to the ground. He had all the Bears numbers. Right, because they put a bounty out like Charles Martin used to do.
Really?
Or he would be the bounty hunter. But this group, Deport Racism 2016, offering $5,000 to any audience member in the Saturday Night Live studio audience on Saturday night who calls Donald Trump a racist on air. So maybe instead of going to Springfield, you go to New York, and you get into your, use your connections to get into the studio audience. You make $5,000 that night.
That sounds like easy money.
Yeah, no, it'd take $5,000 to get there, but so it's kind of a wash. But it'd be
you'll
fun.
Sponsor my trip.
Yeah,
find
sure.
Sponsors
We'll underwrite. We'll do a GoFundMe campaign to get you to New York by Saturday night. $5,000 for any SNL audience member who calls Donald Trump a racist on air. Now, that's an audience member, so the cast can't, can't kind of end run this little contest and do it themselves, tongue in cheek. And Deport Racism PAC, I know it's not, but I almost think Trump is behind it because they have posted a video that's making its way around. It was on Drudge, it's on The Hill, calling out Donald Trump that is so tone deaf that it consists of profanity-laced blather from the mouths of babes. It's only going to help Donald Trump as this circulates in the body politic. Take a listen.
Hola, Donald Trump. Screaming, get out of my country. Republicans use offensive words. So here's a few of our own. You racist. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's like an 8-year-old.
Latino kids born in the USA. And we've got something to say. I'm Rosa. I'm Ricardo. My friends call me Rick. But you keep calling me Anchor, baby? Well, and be nurse. And you have attacked people. For speaking Mexican in this nation. It's Spanish, idiota. Maybe a little less hairspray and more education. Millions of working Latinos would be deported. If you get your loco way. You're in the White House for a...
Yeah, so that's a little...
You get your logo. There's a word.
Yeah.
I'm glad a lot of people don't speak Spanish out there, because we should have beeped that out.
Deport Racism 2016 PAC. And you can watch this video in toto, and you can listen, if you want, to all the words. You can see these kids. They're kids.
They're kids.
They're pre-adolescents, and they're F-bombing and using other colorful language, attacking Trump, and also, you noticed, all Republicans. If you look at the page data, it looks like it may be the Hillary Clinton campaign that's actually behind it. So, in speaking of tone deafness, it's a stiff competition. Hillary Clinton, kind of the queen of tone deafness, but
as a parent, how can you let your kids get on there and drop F-bombs and swear like that and say nasty things to him in Spanish?
Who do they think this is good? They think this is going to take Donald Trump down? Every Republican primary voter, maybe the idea is they think they want Trump to be the nominee because they think he'll be the easiest to beat. I'm not so sure about that. And especially with this approach, what it does is it removes focus on what Trump has said, even some of the intemperate things he says, and it puts all the focus on what you're saying. And when you say things the way that they're saying things at this Deport Racism 2016 PAC, and you put bounties out on candidates, so to speak, I don't know who you think you're appealing to other than a very small portion of even that radical left base in your own party.
And it's sick how they use children, they convince children to use adult language and say some pretty nasty, mean things.
Actually, it's kind of childish language, but I know what you're saying. It's just pathetic. Mike on the west side.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to call in. I saw that video that Deport Racism 2016 yesterday. Before I wasn't considering voting for Trump, but now after that, I'm leaning more towards, and those people who's ever behind that, they should be charged with child abuse or whatever. They got little kids flipping the bird, you dropping the F-bombs. It's disgusting.
Yeah, class act. Thanks for the call, Mike, and thanks for proving my point.
Those are your lefty liberals right there, and the children that they're raising. Way to go, Dad of the Year, Mom of the Year.
And
I've got this great script. You want to have little Junior, little Ricky Ricardo there come and read it for me? Thanks.
And you wonder why the left is losing the culture war, as Molly Ball writes persuasively in The Atlantic. You wonder why we had the election night for center-right candidates, center-right issues that we had on Tuesday night. It's actually fairly straightforward and encouraging. Chuck in Delavan, Wisconsin.
Hello, this is Chuck from Delavan. Hey, I want to know how long it took them to get their money past the Political Action Committee through Lois Lerner. That's all I have to say.
Thanks for the call.
That's right. I'm sure they got the green light.
Lois Lerner, that was IRS. This is FEC. Although once upon a time, Lois Lerner was at the FEC, and she essentially shook down Al Salvi back in '96. You remember that part of the story? When Al Salvi was running against Dick Durbin, she created havoc in the Al Salvi campaign when she was targeting conservatives at the FEC before she graduated to target them at IRS. So that's interesting. But in addition to this problem with Trump, he's got some other problems.
Yeah, this morning his campaign is in full gear trying to distance themselves from this. It was a tweet, so Trump tweet, but it was not his tweet. He retweeted a post that featured a Nazi swastika next to a picture of his rival Jeb Bush. Now, the tweet read, "Adios, Jeb, a.k.a. Jose." And it was, a collage of anti-Bush images, which included him, the former governor, wearing a sombrero and, looking like a mariachi. But it also had the Bush family next to a swastika.
And who tweeted it?
The original tweet came from, what was it? You know what? It was just, I don't know who the original tweet came, but it was two Fox News insiders, Sean Hannity, O'Reilly Factor, and Donald Trump. And Donald Trump retweeted it, not knowing that these images were attached to it. He says so. They're trying to distance themselves from it, but of course, Bush's wife is a Mexican immigrant. The Bush campaign is horrified that Trump has not apologized.
Well, Jeb is Latino, so he says he filed paperwork as such.
And they just released a statement. This was retweeted by Mr. Trump, like hundreds of others. He did not see the accompanying images, And the retweet, Dan, has since been deleted.
I don't think a retweet is going to take down the Trump campaign. That's
I
just
know,
me.
but,
Especially,
don't be careless. you know?
Well, I agree, and maybe it was staff, maybe it was Donald, who knows? But all the attention is going to be focused on what this Deport Racism PAC is trying to do and the bounty and so forth. Although Trump had another little issue, the promos for Saturday Night Live. He had a little issue.
Yeah, he apparently these were leaked accidentally and they shouldn't be on the air yet, but he's hosting Saturday Night Live and here it is. Here's the promo, and of course he rips on Ben Carson.
Donald Trump is hosting Saturday Night Live this week with musical guest Sia. And because of equal time rules for television, Mr. Trump can only speak for 4 seconds in this promo.
So let me just say this. Ben Carson is a complete and total loser.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well,
That's supposed to be funny, though. You know how those
it's not
SNL
funny.
promos
And
are.
Ben Carson doesn't sit well with him.
I think the presidency is a very serious thing, and I don't like making light of it like that.
Trump and Carson will meet.
And he said he will not go on Saturday Night Live. Ted Cruz said he would go on Saturday Night Live. Each candidate responded differently if they were asked. But I think the ratings for Saturday Night Live are going to be through the roof.
Yes. And
it's going to be big, Dan.
And I'll tell you what, again, the Deport Racism 2016, all you're doing is bringing more eyeballs to SNL. All you're doing is helping Trump. So maybe this is purposeful. I suspect it isn't. I think they're actually trying to derail Trump, and it's having the reverse effect. Dennis in Crystal Lake. Hey, Dennis.
Hey, how's it going there, Amy and Dan? Hey, Amy, I don't know how long you lived down in Texas for, but I lived in Rosarito Beach, actually in Mexico for 3 years. And
when he was in exile.
These kids already knew this language. I used to get accosted by them when they were 5 years old trying to get money off me. They knew there's all these words. It ain't abuse. My God, man, these kids came over here knowing this language.
Thanks for the call, Dennis. I mean, I don't think kids don't know profanity, but to put it on display. I mean, if you're a parent and you're watching your child in this, if one of these children were your children, would you be proud of what they're saying?
I'd be horrified.
So. Yeah.
And those parents should get a little visit.
Well, and it's a display of the very criticism they lodge against Trump, that he has no class and that he's
they're doing the same thing.
Right, engages in tone-deaf rhetoric. They should heal themselves.
As usual, Amy, you're on the wrong side of everything.
See Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland at Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th. Tickets on sale at freedomsummitchicago.com.
I didn't experience that when I lived in El Paso. The kids were quite respectful. Here's your forecast. Forecast for today. Mostly cloudy, windy, warm. So get out there and enjoy it. 71 degrees for a high. Go for a nice jog or take a bike ride along the lakefront, because tomorrow it's going to be a lot different around here. Tonight we're going to have rain and thunderstorms, and with that, the colder weather comes. Partly sunny tomorrow for Friday. Windy, cooler, a high in the mid-50s. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Joliet 30 is closed right now at Hennepin Drive. That's right at the Joliet Mall. There's a car fire there. Eden's outbound in Elston. There's a crash. 2 left lanes are blocked for delays in both directions. At Kennedy, 21 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 24. The Eisenhower with delays from Manheim to Harlem. Now 46 minutes from Thorndale to the Loop. Outbound 37. Northbound I-55, slow Weber to 53, then Harlem to Kedzie. The Stevenson is 42 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. Eastbound Adams Tollway, stop and go Bussy to Lee. And the Reagan Tollway has delays, 83 to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte, the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Speaking of Chicago radio deals, the seasons might change, but birthdays, weddings, and celebrations never end. So don't stress about giving the perfect gift. Never go to a party empty-handed when ChicagoRadioDeals.com is just a click away. You can purchase and print a gift certificate the same day. Give a $100 gift certificate to Zembard Jewelers in New Lenox. Here's the deal. You only pay $50 to buy that $100 gift certificate. If you're feeling more generous, well, then check out the Movado watches from Duval Jewelers in Harwood Heights. Nothing is more beautiful than these handcrafted timepieces on the wrist of the person you love. Plus, there's a $200 Duval certificate for only $100. So visit ChicagoRadioDeals.com for great gift ideas, dinners, tickets to live music and comedy, Lake Michigan cruises, overnight stays, spa treatments, and more. Find them all at chicagoradiodeals.com. That's chicagoradiodeals.com.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And Contour Next gives you a second chance, allowing you to reapply to the same strip when the first sample is not enough, saving you time and money. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Meijer.
How do you stay connected to your business when your work has you traveling from Miami on Monday to Tacoma on Tuesday? You call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES. Regis offers drop-in business lounges, meeting rooms, and office space in more than 3,000 locations worldwide, allowing you to work from anywhere at any time, all on your terms. Call Regis today at 1-800-OFFICES and get a free office or meeting room for a day. Regis, here to help you grow.
Holiday parties come in all shapes and sizes. Elegant plated dinners, festive cocktail hours, casual buffets, themed events, and more.
Tasty Catering is already decked out with the holiday spirit, featuring a brand new holiday catering menu and a team of event planners who are eager to help you experience a successful party of any kind.
So much more than amazing holiday catering, Tasty Catering has been helping companies plan their entire holiday parties from start to finish for decades. Tasty Catering is a Chicago holiday tradition.
Your event can be exactly what you envisioned. All you need to do is visit tastycatering.com or call Tasty Catering at 847-593-2000 and tell them your event date.
A planner will ask you about your holiday party goals and then help you reach them as simply and stress-free as possible.
tastycatering.com. Start your holiday planning with a company that Chicago trusts. Tasty Catering, 847-593-2000.
Tasty Catering is a Chicago holiday tradition. 847-593-2000.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so Quentin Tarantino, he made some news when he appeared at a anti-police, although he would call it an anti-police brutality rally in New York, not just within a few days of that police officer being shot and killed in the line of duty in New York City. And Tarantino said this, which prompted police unions to call for boycotts of his movies.
Something to say, but actually I would like to give my time to the families that want to talk. I want to give my time to the families. However, I just do also want to say, what am I doing here? I'm doing here because I am a human being with a conscience. And when I see murder, I cannot stand by. And I have to call the murdered, and I have to call the murderers, the murderers. Now I want to give my time to the family. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and so...
what kind of gobbledygook was that?
So you've got a police unions from across the country that have weighed in. And Tarantino then had doubled down yesterday. He was on with Chris Hayes on MSNBC. Of course he was. And he had more to say in about a 10-minute interview with Hayes on topic of police brutality, explaining what he is doing here.
What you doing here, Dan?
Yeah. So here is Tarantino trying to distinguish police brutality and shooting unarmed people, which is his big thing. Police need to stop shooting unarmed people, and he just makes that blanket statement, distinguishing between that and what he said at the rally.
I believe, in those cases in particular that we're talking about, I actually do believe that they were murder. Now, in the case of Walter Scott, who was the man running in the park and was shot in the back, in the case of Sam DuBose, I believe those were murder, and they were deemed murder. And the reason, and the only reason they were deemed murder is because the incidences were caught on video. However, if they had not been caught on video, the murderers would have gotten away with their murder. In the case of Eric Gardner, in the case of Tamir Rice, I believe that those were murders, but they were exonerated.
So it's an interesting statement he makes, because he's essentially saying if a police officer acts inappropriately, acts criminally, murders someone, like in the Walter Scott case, then they will get away with it if it's not videotaped, because, what? Because the police and the justice system in the particular locale will cover it up. That's what he's saying.
That's what he's saying.
I mean, how else can you interpret what he's saying? If it's
But
not
that's
on
true. Some
video,
police
they'll get
officers-
away
yeah.
with it.
Well, I mean, it does happen, but it's really rare for a jury to convict a police officer. But with the video, it does help in certain cases. But they were doing it long before people had iPhones and cell phone cameras. It's not. He's digging himself into a deeper hole, I think.
Well, he is. And
Is there more?
He has
Oh,
not
no.
stopped digging. So here is Tarantino's clarion call, as it were.
We were crying for a lot of things, but there was one thing in particular, which was stop shooting unarmed people. We want justice, but stop shooting unarmed people. But they don't want to deal with that. They would rather start arguments with celebrities than examine the concerns put before them by a citizenry that has lost trust in them.
And the they he is talking about are the heads of these police unions from across the country, including in Chicago, who have called for boycotts of Tarantino's movie, including his movie that's coming out next month, Hateful Eight. And he also talked, he also does one of these straw man things. I thought I had a First Amendment right to say what I want. Yeah, you do. And the police unions and those representatives,
they have a right too.
They have a right to respond, you clown. Here's the real problem underlying the police brutality in this country. You ready for it? Here's the real problem, according to Quentin Tarantino. The basis of all of these cases that he's talking about.
It's called Rise Up October. And they got in touch with me because I had made statements in some interviews, along the way that had suggested that I'm on their side when it comes to this issue of, ultimately what I feel is a problem of white supremacy in this country.
So white supremacy is the problem in this country, and it manifests itself with these police murders, according to Quentin Tarantino. Now, of course, that white supremacy comment, when completely unchallenged, no follow-up question from Chris Hayes. When you say something like white supremacy, most particularly in police departments, that's the evidence, that's the basis of all of these instances that Tarantino recounts. I think that deserves a follow-up question for him to expound on that a bit more, but no follow-up was offered. But that's Tarantino's take. White supremacy in the police departments is the approximate cause of all of these instances of police misconduct.
Now I think even more police unions and members of police unions are going to boycott his new film.
Don't miss Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 on November 14th with Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland. Get your tickets at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Hey, if your company manufactures or markets pharmaceuticals, biologics, medical devices, or APIs, you know the challenges of systems integration, FDA compliance, and staffing. To gain access to Chicagoland's top life sciences engineering, quality assurance, project management, regulatory, software, and validation professionals, you need the experts at Automated Systems, Inc. All of ASI's resources are degreed professionals with decades of industry experience in manufacturing, automation, and FDA compliance. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life science companies to successful startups. For over a quarter of a century, ASI has excelled through a culture of execution and client success. For information about staffing or a no-obligation compliance or automation evaluation, call Laz at Automated Systems toll-free at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI.
If you could choose any school from which to earn your college degree and beyond your work for better life, would you choose a school won the Princeton Review ranked as a leader in undergraduate education, and won U.S. News and World Report named #1 in the nation for innovation ahead of both MIT and Stanford? Discover why Arizona State University is a clear choice for your future. In addition, ASU Online offers over 100 graduate and undergraduate programs you can take 100% online and on your schedule. You'll receive the exact same curriculum, degree, and prestigious faculty as our on-campus students. For information, call 1-800-720-2358. U.S. News and World Report also ranked ASU in the top 10 best places to earn an online degree. So get started today and learn to thrive with Arizona State University online. Call today at 1-800-720-2358. That's 1-800-720-2358.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
Gun banners lecture Ted Cruz on gun safety. Rather hilarious. We'll have that at 6:46.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. We have cloudy skies right now, 59 degrees, winds out of the south at 7. Authorities say an Illinois police officer from Fox Lake who staged his own death to look like others killed him in the line of duty felt auditors were closing in on his scheme to embezzle money from a youth program that he oversaw.
Thousands of dollars were used by Glinowitz for personal purchases, travel expenses, mortgage payments, adult websites, facilitating personal loans, and unaccounted cash withdrawals.
Lake County Major Crimes Task Force Commander George Filenko says the village of Fox Lake was conducting that internal audit, and police believe Joseph Glinowitz thought that audit would lead to him. Russian officials say Metrojet Airlines has suspended all flights of its Airbus A321 jets following last weekend's crash in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. Meantime, British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond expects British tourists to be flown back from Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, beginning tomorrow, but only after security is tightened at that resort's airport. The chief of South Sudan's Civil Aviation Authority this morning says a cargo plane that crashed yesterday, killing at least 36, was not authorized to carry passengers. We're hearing reports of 4 dead at a home in central Maine this morning after police say a man opened fire. 42-year-old Herman DeRico shot and killed 2 women in Oakland, Maine, then went outside where he himself was killed in the driveway. State police in Louisiana meet with city marshals in Marksville who fired on a car Tuesday night, killing a 6-year-old boy. The marshals were chasing the boy's father, who sped off when they tried to serve a warrant. Chicago police used DNA to identify a dismembered toddler found in a lagoon in September and have revealed that the body parts were that of 2-year-old Kyrian Knox of Rockford. Chicago police are questioning a person of interest in the shooting death of 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee. Investigators say they are looking into whether he was the target of gang retaliation. And the Illinois Supreme Court has again rejected a $10 billion class action judgment against cigarette maker Philip Morris. The 4-2 ruling vacates a 2014 decision by Illinois' 5th District Appellate Court to reinstate the Madison County verdict. The state Supreme Court first overturned that 2003 decision in 2005. Chicago sports, St. Louis nipped the Blackhawks in OT 6-5. White Sox declined the $10 million option on shortstop Alexei Ramirez and owe the former All-Star now just $1 million in buyout cash. The news, a service of Gerber Collision and Glass. At Gerber Collision and Glass, it's all about you. They offer a national lifetime warranty and have hours to fit your busy schedule. Stop by one of their nearly 60 Chicagoland locations to see why Gerber comes so highly recommended. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity calls out Hillary Clinton's lie.
We were shown evidence that proved beyond any shadow of a doubt that she and the president and other people that run this country right now lied repeatedly about the cause of the attack on the American diplomatic compound in Libya.
The Sean Hannity Show, afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I'm Willie Wilson, candidate for President of the United States. As your president, I will make sure that there is equal pay for women.
Paid for by Willie Wilson 2016.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
The gospel truth about it is that the thing I'm most excited about is that after having my gallbladder out 3 years ago, I had constant pain in my side that was something that they couldn't attribute to anything other than probably a poor diet. Since I've been on these supplements, is really making a difference in my life. I feel better. I have no pain.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
Hi, Tom Sadeka, CEO of Precision Payroll of America. We're the 32-year-old company whose first employee and first client are still working together. If you are like me and are listening to this station, chances are we hold some common values and truths we hold self-evident. That's the main reason Precision Payroll attracts great clients and great employees. Precision Payroll of America operates at the core with fundamental principles that drive our attitude and delivery of service. We work hard to provide the best in pricing and value. In addition, with our great team that has been with us a long time, you are ensured a lasting relationship with people who understand your needs and always stand ready to serve. What sets us apart is that we view what we do as a great opportunity to serve others in a professional and technical capacity while building long-lasting relationships. That's what we treasure. If this message hits home, please call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507 or on the web at precisionpayroll.com.
6:37. Let's get an update on the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the outbound Edens at Elston, there's a crash. 2 right lanes are blocked. It's 25 minutes. Montrose to Lakehook, inbound 37. That crash is backing up the outbound Kennedy with delays starting at Ohio. 48 minutes downtown to O'Hare, inbound just 26. The Eisenhowers, 55 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 37. Stevenson, 48 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown, I-57. 35 minutes, I-80 to the Verge, Bishop 436. Northbound Tri-State slow from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis, the Reagan all the way to North Avenue. Traffic service of Veritiv. Veritiv is hiring drivers. Enjoy great hours, great people, great equipment, and local routes close to home. It all adds up to a great driving career with Veritiv. Get started at drive4v.com. That's drive, number 4, letter V.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Cloudy, windy, and mild today. A high of 71. 59 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Live with Andrew Holmes. Get honest answers to your questions every Sunday at 12 noon.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
What is up, Dan and Amy? So, Amy, yesterday a tweet making its way around that encapsulated the Obama political legacy very nicely. This tweet from Rory Cooper, who's a Republican political consultant. Under President Obama, Democrats have lost more than 900 state legislative seats, 12 governors, 69 House seats, 13 Senate seats. That's some legacy. Most politicians don't have coattails, but they sure can be anchors. Maybe Republicans should think about trying to amend the Constitution so that Obama could run for a third term. He says he could win. I don't know.
He was at a fundraiser in Maryland last night saying, we had a little minor setback, but we have to focus on raising minimum wages.
Yes.
That's the focus, Dan, okay?
His mantra has worked for him because of 2 subpar Republican presidential candidates, but it hasn't really worked in the rest of the country. Has it? We put that question to our friend Cal Thomas, USA Today columnist, syndicated columnist nationally. Cal, thanks so much for joining us.
Once in love with Amy, always. Oh, excuse me. I was rehearsing my.
Being
wanted
serenaded.
to sing Amy this morning.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. Before we get to that, I just figured out why in Chicago and so many other places we name roads after politicians: Eisenhower, Stevenson, Ryan. You know why? Because they're all driving us into debt. They're driving us crazy. They're driving this country down a deep pit. How's that?
That's
like
pretty
it.
good, yeah.
I like
Yeah,
it.
Cal Thomas Comedy Hour.
Yeah, this is good. He'll be at the Yuck Hut.
Yes.
Opening up on Thursday.
So how about that, Cal? I mean, with Tuesday's election results, the good news was, despite what I hear from the Beltway pundits, the Republican Party is not going to disappear. How about that?
Well, absolutely. And here in Virginia, where I live, in Northern Virginia, which is so liberal, when I went in to vote yesterday, or Tuesday, there wasn't a single Republican on the ballot. They were all Democrats, independents, or no label at all. So I just turned around and walked out, and they said, "No, wait a minute, you can't walk out. You have a ballot." I said, "Well, write void on it. I'm not voting for any of these clowns."
Wow.
Look, I think what's happening at the state level, as I write about in my latest book, What Works, is giving Republicans and conservatives a boost all over the country. Republican governors and legislators are working together, even with Democrats, and actually solving problems. Here in Washington, it's so dysfunctional, nothing gets done. They don't even talk to each other anymore. There is some hope that the new Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, will be able to follow through on his very high-minded statements about a new day and a new direction. But we've heard all of this stuff before. Washington is completely broken because we don't follow the Constitution anymore. I think these election results are not just a little blip, as the president said. I think they're a significant message to the Republican presidential candidates to stop playing on the Democrats' turf, to stop trying to prove they're not racists or sexists or homophobes, they're uncaring about the poor and all of this other business, and start focusing on what's working in the states and what can work at the national level if the leadership in Washington will apply those principles.
Yeah, and stop talking. They have stopped talking about the female anatomy, and that seems to help a lot too. So how do we
George Stephanopoulos has not, though.
Yes, he hasn't. But how do we attract even more, say, independents to the Republican Party?
Yeah, well, again, and Bill Clinton has not either, but that's another issue. Yeah, hello.
He's got a million of them.
Yeah, there you go. But that's right. Well, of course, Bill's more than talking. But anyhow, again, I think focusing on solutions. We didn't just crawl out of a cave. There's an Old Testament verse in Ecclesiastes that says there's nothing new under the sun. Everything you think has been thought before. Everything you do has been done before. There are no new ideas. There are only old ideas that either worked or didn't. We still have some old Puritan DNA left deep within our bones. I think we need to dig it out. Live within your means. Get married before you have kids. Don't take drugs. I mean, these things. Marijuana in Ohio. 60 Minutes did this incredible piece Sunday night on the growing heroin problem in Ohio. Why are so many people fixated on drugs? Well, the politicians have figured out that with marijuana, at least, they can make money off of it. And, of course, politicians never have enough of our money, just like Dracula never has enough of our blood. And the analogy, I think, is apt, because both suck the lifeblood out of a country or out of a person. I really think that we are going nuts in this country. In Houston, the issue, thankfully defeated, was whether men who consider themselves to be women, even though they still have the male body parts, ought to be able to use women's restrooms. I mean, we're going absolutely insane.
Well, are we going insane? Because Molly Ball writes in The Atlantic that, based on some of these election results, including the two propositions you just referenced, maybe Republicans aren't so out of step with where America is, and maybe Republican candidates should receive the message that it is okay to be a culture warrior, a term that's usually applied with derision, but that culture turns out to be very important, and it turns out to be something that people care about. They are not just economic man and woman.
Well, people of a certain age care about it, but as we've seen from many studies, including the very respected Pew Research Center, there's a divide between some of us older folks, speaking for myself, I don't know how old you are, you're probably a lot younger than me, and the millennials. And what we've got to do is reach the millennials, and we have to make the case that standing up for virtue and traditional values works to their own self-interest and the children they either have now or will soon have, and for the future of the country. It isn't about bigotry, as the New York Times lead editorial says this morning. It's about common sense. It's about holding up certain principles. You can't let all ideas are not equal. Otherwise, the Democrats would be saying, well, okay, whatever you want to do is fine with us. We really don't believe in higher taxes and bigger government. There are things that are to be preferred over others, whether it comes to taxation or big government or personal relationships. And again, This isn't just a religious idea. There's sociological data conducted by studies conducted by even secular psychologists and sociologists that prove the point. I don't think we ought to be ashamed of these things. It wasn't my values and that have led to the downturn in this country. If you're old enough to remember this analogy, some years ago I was charged with trying to return this country to the days of Ozzie and Harriet, the famous television show of an intact family. And I said, well, I'll defend Ozzie and Harriet if you defend Beavis and Butthead.
Now, Cal Thomas, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but but I do. Which presidential candidate do you find attractive that if you had to vote for today, who would you vote for?
Well, this is like asking of a newborn child, where do you want to go to college and what is your career path? It's still a year, just about a year exactly to Election Day, and there are a lot of things that will happen between now and then. I don't know. I feel sorry for Jeb Bush. I really do. Wall Street Journal has a front page story this morning that he's kind of doing a Rorschach test in New Hampshire. He even apologized to the French for what he said in the last debate. I mean, come on. Right. Apologizing to the French? Yeah. Please. I mean, he came in with all the money and with the name recognition and the family connections and the experience, and he did a great job as governor of Florida. But people forget after you've been out of the limelight for a while. And now he's hired this person who preps candidates and TV anchors to try to improve his game. Well, it's a little late. I mean, it's like stopping smoking after you've been diagnosed as having lung cancer. You shouldn't have started in the first place. But so I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of partial in some ways to Marco Rubio, though he never returns my phone calls. I like him. I certainly like Ted Cruz, but I'm not sure that he has the chops to do it on the long haul. I really like Carly Fiorina. I've interviewed her a couple of times. I love the idea of a strong, intelligent woman on the Republican conservative side, but I'm just not sure that she has the staying power. When she does these debates, her numbers go up, but in between they decline again.
Now, so you've left out a candidate, and the candidate right now that has the best numbers head-to-head against Hillary Clinton and is tied in some polling nationally with Donald Trump, and that's Dr. Ben Carson. What's your assessment of him?
I really don't think that he's going to make it. I mean, he has no really solid positions on things that matter, and his laid-back persona may be interesting in contrast to some of the others who are more bombastic, like Trump especially. But he really has no. If you read some of his quotes, there's a great column in the Wall Street Journal today. I think it's by Dan Henniger that deals with this subject. And I would, if I were having brain surgery, my number one candidate to operate on me would be Ben Carson. Yep. But I don't want somebody without experience in political and governmental life running the country. We just had this, and we've had it before with others, and it doesn't work out well.
Maybe the nation needs metaphorical brain surgery.
It's a brain transplant.
Cal Thomas, syndicated columnist, USA Today columnist, Marco Rubio. Call Cal Thomas back. Cal, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Bye.
And he joined us on our very excited Turnkey.pro answer line.
Don't miss Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 on November 14th with Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland. Get your tickets at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Cal Thomas is el fuego. He's on fire.
Amped up, Cal Thomas.
And you're going to be amped about your forecast today because it's going to be mostly cloudy, windy, but still unseasonably warm for this time of year. A high of 71 degrees. Tonight, rain, thunderstorms roll through here, and with it comes the cold. So for your Big Fun Friday, it's going to be partly sunny, windy, and highs in the mid-50s. Let's see if there's some excitement out on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Well, if delays are your way of getting excited, Amy, you've got plenty of those. The outbound Kennedy's really jammed thanks to a crash on the outbound Edens at Elston. It has cleared now, but the outbound Kennedy is jammed from Ohio pretty much all the way to the junction. It is an hour and 5 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Inbound just 31 minutes. The Edens inbound was affected as well by that crash. It's 41 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound is 22. The Eisenhower's 55 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 41. The Stevenson 54 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan's brutal. 40 minutes. 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both around 36 minutes. I-80 to the merge. The northbound tri-state has heavy delays. 111th to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Now it's time for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report, brought to you by the Mutual Fund Store.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Corporate developments, the Federal Reserve, and economic reports, all factors influencing trading on Wall Street. Those stories next.
We gave Tom 12 seconds to give 6 reasons why he opened a Mathnasium Learning Center franchise.
Okay. Great income potential. Doing good for kids. Doing what I love. Making math make sense to kids. 500 centers open already. 1 every 3 days. Mathnasium taught me the business. Helps me. Supports me.
Time's up. Pretty good. For franchise information, visit mathnasium.com or take the first step right now. Call 855-361-MATH. That's 855-361-6284.
In honor of Veterans Day, Ancestry wants to help you unlock, share, and preserve your family's military stories. So for everyone that visits tryancestry.com this Saturday through Veterans Day Wednesday, you'll have free access to over 250 million global military records. Take a step back in time to follow your ancestors' military journey for free. This free access is Saturday through Wednesday only at tryancestry.com. Tryancestry.com. That's TRY Ancestry.com.
Investors hope to bounce back from yesterday's modest losses on Wall Street. Investors today assessing earnings from Celgene, Facebook, Marathon Oil, Qualcomm, and Whole Foods. Facebook stronger than expected earnings, driving its stock higher in extended trading. Expedia's stock higher in overnight trading as well. Expedia buying online vacation rental site HomeAway for just under $4 billion. Investors also considering reports on weekly jobless claims, monthly layoffs, and third quarter productivity. Economic developments in Europe and a flurry of Fed speakers could influence trading in both the currency and debt markets. And we'll see whether the dollar continues to improve. Yesterday's gains in the dollar helped drive crude oil prices under $47 a barrel. Join us for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
My brother Chris is allergic to talking about retirement. Bring up his future and you'll get glazed eyes and awkward answers. Don't believe me? Let's try it. Chris, when will you retire?
Ha! You darn right I like nachos.
See what I mean? Chris, do you have a retirement account?
It's gotta be the right kind of cheese.
One last time. Are you ever going to retire?
And don't forget jalapenos. I love jalapenos.
Good for you, buddy.
Avoiding the retirement conversation? At the Mutual Fund Store, we get it, and our advisors are here to help. Whether you're storing 401k statements in a shoebox, can't tell a traditional from a Roth IRA, or include piggy bank as one of your retirement accounts, there are no judgments here. We'll simply sit down with you one-on-one, talk about where you're at, and help you put a plan in place to get you where you want to be tomorrow. Let's get the conversation started today with a free consultation.
Hi, I'm Steve Check with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
I wish this bag under my eye would just go away. If that sounds like you every day, you are not alone. Bags and puffiness, wrinkles under the eyes are a problem for millions of American men and women until now. Introducing the new Genucell serum with plant stem cell technology from Chamonix. I've been using it for months now. My sister uses it. Her skin looks great. I think mine looks good. What do you think, Dan? Okay, no comment. And with its instant
Porcelain.
effects, yes, you'll see results in the first 12 hours or your money back. They guarantee it. So call now and save big on Genucell's risk-free introductory offer. Guys, you can use it too. Put some product on your face. It's okay. Call this number, 800-525-8323, 800-525-8323. Call now and you'll get the amazing Esotique face cream as a special gift simply by placing your order. That number again, 800-525-8323, 800-525-8323.
The door opens at Midlothian Music. And just like that, you're a customer for life. With their huge inventory of hundreds of guitars, drum kits, and string instruments, they've got you covered. Midlothian Music, the largest American-made selection of handcrafted, name-brand instruments, lessons for every level of musician, and free lifetime in-house repair and service. Midlothian Music. After 54 years of success, they live and breathe music. Whether a beginner or a pro, Midlothian Music has the right equipment at the right price to make you a true rock star in in your band or in your band. Talk to the pros in person 7 days a week. Midlothian Music, 708-403-3733, or visit midlothianmusic.com. That's midlothianmusic.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, I'll tell you, Ted Cruz is getting traction when some of these rabid left-wingers are trying to come up with something to criticize him over beyond his just policy positions to make him look, reckless and extreme. Wonkette, this is a popular left-wing blog, has a picture of Cruz in hunting gear doing an interview on CNN, and he's got his shotgun over his shoulder, but it's broken down like you're supposed to. So the barrel is
right,
open.
It's cleared.
Yeah, and so Wonkette says Ted Cruz casually and negligently mishandling a deadly weapon. He's uninterested in accidentally killing someone. He is.
Oh my God!
I mean, it's ridiculous. First of all, he's not pointing it down range in terms of the barrel to his back, but it looks like he's about 500 yards from the range and from 1,000 yards from a farmhouse, and there's nobody out there. And he's got the gun broken down. He doesn't have his finger on the trigger. So it's so funny to listen to gun banners lecture Ted Cruz about gun safety and try and make the argument, assert the allegation that Ted Cruz is indifferent about gun safety and hurting innocent people that don't exist in this screenshot that they reference. But it's good news for Ted Cruz, because if the left is conjuring stuff up, that means you're a threat.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. That's where Upstream Ideas comes in. Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted orthodoxies. In other words, Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
There are two kinds of pain that goes away and the worst kind, chronic pain. If you suffer from chronic pain, life is not complete and it can be miserable. Unfortunately, most people use narcotics that mask the pain. You need to find the source of the chronic pain and get relief.
This is Dr. Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in the management of pain, and our team are national leaders as well as being educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. You know, there's a nationwide narcotics epidemic, and people are too quick to mask over chronic pain instead of looking for the cause and treating or eliminating the pain. Contact us. We will help you.
Go to mypainchicago.com. Call and make an appointment with some of the best pain people in the nation, located here in Chicago. mypainchicago.com. You or someone you know suffers and the suffering of chronic pain. mypainchicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
Authorities say an officer's death was a carefully staged suicide. I'm Mike Scott. That story coming up. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Was that Russian plane bombed out of the sky? The U.S. thinks that's a strong possibility. Britain agrees. Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond.
We are now advising against all but essential travel by air through Sharm el-Sheikh Airport.
So flights from the UK are canceled. Fox's Jess Gallagher is live in our Middle East bureau.
Dave, Cairo and Moscow are dismissing suggestions by Britain and the U.S. that a bomb most likely caused the Metrojet airliner to crash in the Sinai Desert, killing all 224 people on board. A spokesman for Russian President Vladimir Putin says investigators are working on all possible theories, but it's speculatory to name just one. Meanwhile, Egypt's Antiquities Minister supports Moscow, saying everyone must wait for the result of the investigation. Cairo officials have also condemned Britain's travel ban as an overreaction. Dave.
Jessica, in the crash of a cargo plane in South Sudan that killed 36 people, it turns out the pilot was not authorized to carry passengers. A baby was the only survivor. A 4-year-old girl in Oakland, Maine has lost her parents, murdered in their home last night, along with another woman, by a gunman who then shot and killed himself. The little girl was found alive inside. A 6-year-old boy is dead in Louisiana, and state police want to know why. Fox's Tanya J. Powers is on the case live.
6-year-old Jeremy Martis was riding in the car with his father, Chris Few, and Marksville City Marshals were trying to serve the dad a warrant on Tuesday night. The Marshals chased Few's vehicle. Police say he reached a dead end, then backed into the Marshals. They fired on the car, hitting the boy in the head and chest. Louisiana State Trooper Scott Moreau says they're trying to fill in the gaps.
I know it was more than one officer involved. There was multiple officers, but as far as whether it was 2, 3, or 4, I don't have that information yet.
Few was in serious condition yesterday, Dave.
Tanya Luke Bryan, still the king of country music. A repeat winner is CMA Entertainer of the Year on ABC.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, everyone in heaven looking out for me.
Miranda Lambert won Best Female Vocalist the 6th straight year. Chris Stapleton, Best Male Vocalist and New Artist. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Cloudy and 59 degrees. Winds are beginning to pick up just to the west of us. About an hour or so, winds are already over 20 mile an hour, 7 mile an hour here in the Chicago area so far this morning. Authorities say an Illinois officer who staged his own death to look like others killed him in the line of duty felt authorities and auditors were close to discovering that he had been embezzling money from a youth program he oversaw.
Thousands of dollars were used by Gliniewicz for personal purchases, travel expenses, mortgage payments, adult websites, facilitating personal loans, and unaccounted cash withdrawals.
Lake County Major Crimes Task Force Commander George Filenko. Some people in Fox Lake say they're still processing the news that a police officer, Lieutenant Charles Joseph Gliniewicz, they had celebrated as a fallen hero, killed himself after being accused of embezzling money. Many are angry, and an organization that assists survivors of officers killed in the line of duty is asking the family of Gliniewicz to return its donation. On the day Gliniewicz was found dead, 100 Club of Chicago CEO Joe Ahern presented a check to the officer's widow for $15,000. DNA testing done by the FBI may have cleared up a big mystery surrounding the discovery in a Chicago Park lagoon. AM 560's David Stewart reports.
Tests on the remains found over the Labor Day weekend in the Garfield Park Lagoon have shown a match with the DNA of a 2-year-old reported missing in September from his home in Rockford. Kirian Knox was reported missing in mid-September, but police aren't exactly certain when he was last seen because he was believed to have been in the care of a family friend before that. The remains found included a child's hands, feet, and head, but not a torso, and the cause of death hasn't been determined. David Stewart, Chicago.
Chicago police are questioning a person of interest in the shooting death of 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee. The person showed up with a lawyer at police headquarters yesterday. An employee at Richards High School in Oak Lawn has been accused of secretly video recording a female student changing clothes in the girls' locker room after a PE class. Raymond Van Sickle of the 800 block of Shorewood Drive in Joliet appeared before a Cook County judge on a charge of unauthorized video recording. Chicago sports last night. St. Louis nipped the Blackhawks in OT 6-5. Tonight it's the Bulls and Oklahoma City. The news service of CarStar Auto Body Repair Experts. Tell your insurance company you want to go to CarStar. They put customer satisfaction first, and CarStar will get you back on the road safely, quickly, and with minimal hassle. And all work is guaranteed. CarStar, Chicago's auto body repair experts. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
One event. One day only. With all of these names together. Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, KT McFarland, Katie Pavlich, and Guy Benson. It's Freedom Summit Chicago 2015, November 14th in Itasca. Tickets begin at just $29 and are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. Don't miss this exclusive event. go to freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And Contour Next gives you a second chance, allowing you to reapply to the same strip when the first sample is not enough, saving you time and money. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Meijer.
Where do more than 2 million people go each day to do their best work? They go to Regis. Regis has beautifully designed tech-powered offices and co-working spaces with full admin support. Let Regis manage the details for you so you can focus on your business. Call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES to get up and running fast, without the hassle. Join the 2 million people who have found a better way to work. And right now, get a free office or meeting room for a day when you call 1-800-OFFICES. Regis, here to help you grow.
7:06 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The outbound Kennedy has very big delays from Ohio most of the way to Sayre. There was an earlier crash on the outbound Edens at Elston, which factored in. It is an hour and 7 minutes to get from downtown to O'Hare. Inbound 36 minutes. The Edens inbound delays start at Old Orchard. 41 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 23. The Eisenhower is an hour and 5 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. 47 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 44 to Thorndale. Stevenson an hour and 2 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. 49 minutes from the Tri-State. From Ryan, 40 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State delays are from 111th to the Hinsdale Oasis, then from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway stop and go Barrington to Meacham and Bussey to Lee. Reagan Tollway delays from 83 to 290. Veterans Memorial stop and go from Boughton to the Reagan Tollway. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Mostly cloudy and windy today, gusts up to 30 miles per hour, high 71. Windy with gusts up to 30 miles per hour tonight with periods of rain and a thunderstorm with a low 50. Partial sunshine tomorrow, still windy with gusts up to 30 miles per hour, cooler with a high 55. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
59 degrees at O'Hare. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by MJ Miller & Company Jewelers of Barrington. Make your holidays sparkle and shine with items from the new MJ Miller Holiday Catalog.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
There is new information tonight about the focus of the criminal investigation now that the death of Lieutenant Gliniewicz has been ruled a suicide.
This is the first time as a law enforcement officer in my career that I felt ashamed.
Hi, I'm Donald Trump, and I'll be hosting Saturday Night Live this week.
I'm outraged that Saturday Night Live has invited a racist to be its host.
We want justice, but stop shooting unarmed people. But they don't want to deal with that. They would rather start arguments with celebrities.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, good morning. Well, once you break the seal, it all starts to come out, or perhaps a more apt comparison is Pandora's box. And Lieutenant Joe Gliniewicz's Pandora's box has been opened, and there's no shutting it. Your reactions to all that was released yesterday by the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force and Commander Falenko, how he answered the questions that were asked by media. Your reactions, generally speaking, to the news that the family is under criminal investigation. Joe Gliniewicz's widow and one of his sons. What should be done about the money that they collected, not just from taxpayers, but also from contributors in the wake of his death, when people were rushing to support the family because they believed that this hero cop had been murdered. And what we know, some of the questions that we had going into the press conference yesterday that we now know. Why don't we start there, Amy, including with the three individuals that were the initial persons of interest
Yeah.
in the case.
This morning we're learning that Thomas Corso was one of the three guys that was at a restaurant, but they were they went to a restaurant on Route 12, and G.I. Joe on his way to work that day on the way
Let's
to
stop calling him G.I. Joe, because that's kind of an insult to GIs, isn't it?
You know what? You're right. The lieutenant, on the way to his planned and very well staged suicide, saw a white guy, a person in dreadlocks, and a light-skinned Hispanic walking into a restaurant. They, of course, had a rock solid alibi. They have the receipt from the restaurant. They have the waitress who said, no, they weren't here. These aren't the people who killed him. But it fit his narrative. He saw them and he's like, I'll radio in and say I saw a white guy, two white guys and a black guy. But no one is more relieved this morning than Thomas Corso. He said his life has just been horrible since this happened.
I can't sleep. I can't.
Hold on one second. Here's Thomas Corso.
I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't work. I've been living in constant fear.
So he said the police picked him and his friends up. Yeah, he's been in constant fear that they're going to nab him, that they'll pin him for something.
When did he say this?
He said this last night exclusively to Eric Hong, that he is very upset. He's a reporter from ABC 7 News.
Well, I know who he is, but this Corso, that was 2.5 months ago.
Yeah, but still, he's fearful. He got dragged into questioning. They thought that he killed a cop, he and his friends. They said, no, we are just having a business meeting at a restaurant and having breakfast.
There's helicopters swarming all over the place. People are telling me there's a manhunt going on. I'd be in jail right now. He tried to pin it on us.
Yeah, he tried to pin them on a murder, which was really just a suicide. G.I. Joe killed himself.
Right. Well, what G.I. Joe did was cowardly and despicable. I mean, there's so many layers to it. There's so many layers to go through. That's one of them, is wrongly identifying these individuals to, as part of this elaborate ruse, which turned out to be not so elaborate and not so difficult to distill and get to the truth. But he can't work, he can't eat, he can't sleep. I mean, they brought him in early. They identified him through all the videotape. Falenko went through this at the press conference. They brought him in early. They questioned them. They released them. They exonerated them. I don't think there was any follow-up with them at all. So that's, you take people as they are, but that's a bit of a curious lasting effect.
I smell a lawsuit coming.
Yes, from
That's
talking to
I
cops
smell.
for 5 minutes.
But the big issue here is this big staged suicide. I mean, here you have a 30-year-plus veteran who used his police training to stage his own suicide. He had the can of mace out, or the pepper spray. 2 feet away from that, he had the baton. Then he smashed his glasses, my sources told me, to make it look like he was murdered. And we all knew
Yeah,
this.
they talked about that. Falenko talked
Right.
about the 300 yards worth of evidence, one thing after the other, and including taking a little while until you were right on the scene to identify where the gun was that Gliniewicz used, because of the overgrowth in the area in which where he committed suicide.
And yesterday they released part of the text messages. They had 6,500 pages of text messages from one phone alone. So from his personal text messages, it just showed the cover up and what they were doing. He was very upset. The lieutenant was upset about this new village manager, her name Anne Marine, who was looking into the Explorer program and wondering where the money went. So one of the text messages with individual 2, who we found out was his son, DJ, he said, the son said, hopefully she decides to get a couple of drinks in her and she gets a DUI. Joe wrote back, she does, but not around here, and no one knows where. Trust me, I've thought it through, many scenarios, from planting things to the Volo Bog. And we learned yesterday, I learned that Volo Bog means offing her, killing her. And Anne Marine reacted.
I was stunned, a little afraid.
Yeah, because he wanted to off her.
Well, and she was, as the village administrator, just doing the normal audit of departments and programs, and this is what concerned Gliniewicz, according to communications that the investigators obtained. Volo Bog, boy, that's an interesting handle. I would think like the Volo trunk, and it could be like a trunk in a car museum.
It's a
But
forest
Volo
preserve
Bog.
area.
Yeah, right. Gliniewicz also, one of the text messages that's interesting that was released with respect to his son, because, again, his widow and his son are under investigation. Falenko made it clear that there is still a pending criminal investigation, even though we now understand what Gliniewicz did and how he died. Glinowitz warns his son on June 25th, quote, this is a text, "You are borrowing money from that quote-unquote other account. When you get back, you'll have to start dumping money into that account or you'll be visiting me in jail." So there are some incriminating statements in those text messages. Falenko referred to them generally, and we'll see where this investigation goes. But, of course, this calls into question whether or not, particularly if there were family members that were conspiring to embezzle money from the public in Fox Lake, whether or not he and the family should receive his pension. And again, the other monies that were raised for the family on Glinowitz's behalf.
I spoke to someone yesterday who said their daughter cleaned out her piggy bank to give money to this family. They received through a GoFundMe page, which has since been taken down, and a Facebook share page, remembering Lieutenant G.I. Joe, which has been taken down, and just people collecting money on the streets. They've received about $300,000 from people all over this country who felt so bad that he was murdered and killed in the line of duty. Well, now this whole time he was the criminal himself. He was embezzling money. It was a big cover-up.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636DA, turnkey.pro, text line. And now, in terms of Glinowitz, there is some interesting information coming out, kind of asking the question, why wasn't more known about Glinowitz in a public way earlier? Why was the hero image allowed to go unchallenged? And the story in the Sun-Times that's just out about a sexual harassment suit in which Glinowitz was the center of, this dates back to 2000. A Fox Lake police officer, Denise Sharp, who sued for sexual harassment when she was an officer with the Explorers program, over which Glinowitz operated, and this was the source of the funds that he accessed, apparently illegally, said that she said in her sexual harassment suit, which was dismissed in 2005 because she wasn't, and her attorney were not making court dates and so forth, but she alleged that Glinowitz pressured her for sexual favors in exchange for, quote-unquote, protecting her within the police department and maybe even facilitating her rise in rank in the police department, including running the Explorers program. So this was an inappropriate relationship between a superior officer and a subordinate. And lawyers for the village conceded that there was a relationship between the two. They disputed whether or not there were sexual favors offered in return for the protection, but they conceded there was this illicit relationship in court documents, and he was suspended for a month.
All right. Well,
so
he committed suicide to cover up his criminal activity, and people are upset. And this was a man that they looked up to. This was, G.I. Joe.
It was unbelievable. My gosh, G.I. Joe went from a hero to a criminal. Yeah, it's sad.
It is sad, but people want their money back, and people are pissed. And people are starting to tag lawn signs that said, a memorandum of G.I. Joe, putting an L on the forehead, writing disgrace, loser.
Well, of course people are upset because not only were they defrauded of their taxpayer funds,
$50,000,
but more importantly, they were defrauded of pride, right? People want to believe there are heroes, and there are, and they thought Joe Glinowitz was one, and it turns out they were wrong.
And you know who's very upset? All the law enforcement officers. They feel sick. Here's George Falenko.
This is the first time as a law enforcement officer in my career that I felt ashamed by the acts of another police officer.
All right, we'll take your calls, 312-642-5600, after this short break.
See Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland at Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th. Tickets on sale at freedomsummitchicago.com.
What to do with the money? Also, the 100 Club wants their $15,000 back. But first, here's your forecast. Today, mostly cloudy, windy, mild, 71 degrees, and big changes are coming, folks. Tonight, rain and a thunderstorm, and with it comes the cold. Tomorrow, a high only of 55 degrees. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. The inbound Eisenhower is the heaviest right now. Travel time, an hour and 7 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, 51 minutes from Mannheim. Outbound 44 to Thorndale. Eden's 34 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 26. The Kennedy, 46 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 55. The Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 40 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, the delays are from Cicero to LaGrange Road, where there's a stalled semi in the right center lane. Then from Plainfield Road to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway jammed, Barrington to Meacham. Reagan Tollway from 83 to 290, and the Veterans Memorial very slow from Boughton to the Reagan Tollway and Roosevelt to St. Charles. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Thank you to all of our listeners who have purchased thousands of MyPillows over the last 18 months and are enjoying your best sleep ever. But that still leaves thousands of you who haven't taken advantage of the buy one, get one free offer. What are you waiting for? It is so important to get a great night's sleep. You wake up feeling refreshed, energized. So don't wait any longer. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia. You don't toss and turn in the middle of the night because the pillow conforms to your neck and back. MyPillow is washable, and it keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. That's why it was named the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. American made. So go to mypillow.com, type Amy in the promo code, 2 pillows for the price of one, or call the 800 number, 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm gonna return the kayak.
Can we walk home?
How about a taxi?
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Get your Plenty card at Exxon or Mobil and start earning points at lots of places.
So I get points for filling up at Exxon?
You sure do.
What about getting coffee at Mobil?
Points.
Streaming TV shows on Hulu?
Definitely.
Points on my AT&T wireless bill?
Yep.
Buying soap?
At Rite Aid.
Buying you a birthday present?
Points at Macy's.
Visiting your parents?
No. You get marriage points.
Oh.
Exxon and Mobil are the only fuel brands that are part of Plenty, the rewards program that lets you earn points at one place and use them at another. Join Plenty for free through a participating Exxon or Mobil station today. Terms and limitations apply. See plenty.com/partners for details.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
They're just awesome. I keep telling people because they keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. And then my bad cholesterol was 62, now it's 52. So, and then with my blood work, the doctor said, I don't know what you're doing, but everything is just perfect.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
When you can't give your child a warm winter coat, it hurts a lot.
There's a crying need in Chicago this winter, and it's so easy to help.
I mean, when you can't send your kids to school in something warm, it eats at you.
It's naive to believe every mother can just go to the store when their children need a new coat. This Christmas, others need our help.
The first cold day, it sneaks up on you.
From now until December 15th, your neighborhood Merlin 200,000-mile shops are pleading with you to donate to their Snug Hugs clothing drive. Donate coats, hats, scarves, mittens to any Merlin shop, and your donation will warm the hearts of the families served by Children's Home and Aid.
I just want to provide for my kids, that's all.
Please put one more gift on your Christmas list and bring it to any Merlin 200,000-mile shop. Make a warm difference this Christmas. Merlin, more warmth to everyone this Christmas.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy.
Yeah, phone lines are lit up here.
Yeah, so there was some thought that Joe Glinowitz may have committed suicide because he couldn't deal with losing his identity as a cop. It turns out it was he didn't want his identity as a criminal to be exposed, which led to his suicide. Text from 847. It's Gossip Hour with your host, Dan and Amy. Is that what this is? Is it Gossip Hour? Why don't you call in 847 and give us the substance on this, because I don't think this is gossip at all.
Well, he used the funds from the Explorer to pay for his mortgage, to take trips, paid for airfare with it, gym memberships. I mean, this guy, and he's been doing it for 7 years.
Boy, throw everything away for $50,000 of other people's money. Oof. John in Lake in the Hills, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, good morning, Dan and Amy. He must have gone to the University of Iowa with me and Amy, because the guy wasn't too smart, didn't go to Northwestern like you, Dan. But Officer doesn't know that all his text messages, that those are all out there and can easily be found once an investigation starts. So this guy wasn't as smart of an officer as he thinks he was.
I agree with that, John. No, this is no master plan.
No, but my source told me that he deleted all these messages on the morning of the suicide.
Yeah, that's John's point. He's a moron.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, he spent time actually thinking that they're not going to find these. Okay.
Well, this
he deleted from the trash folder. Ooh, it's really going to go away.
Well,
no, you have the feds here.
The crime scene. You thought with all of the investigative tools police have that you were going to get away with a staged suicide? Come on.
Trying to pin it on 3 people.
Staged murder that, of course, was a suicide. Tom and Elgin.
Yeah, I wanted to make a statement about Quantico. And I'm sure Amy knows that it's the United States Marine Base Corps, but all of the military base, all the military arms have a presence there, and it's the head for the CIA spook camp. Now, yesterday we had a big fight over how long it took, and 3 times he mentioned Quantico. That's the commander who did the investigation. Right. We have so much going into Quantico. Last caller, it's not an easy thing. It's a very complex and scientific to remove and get back in there all the way, and to be able to preserve it forensically for court. So think of all the killings and the murders and the threats that are going back to Quantico. That's where it was interpreted. It wasn't interpreted in Lake County.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, so Tom, you're saying that the Major Crimes Task Force in Lake County did a good job.
What I'm saying is I support 95% of the honest cops. And we on this, listeners, and yes, you were right yesterday. They have a full 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, whatever it takes them to do the right job. You were right all the way. But I would like to ask all the listeners, if they believe that mandatory random specimen testing would have stopped or caught this guy way years earlier.
Right, thanks
for the call, Tom. Well, I mean, I don't know if he was using drugs or not. I mean, I guess it's an interesting question. Let's go to Steve on the Northwest side.
Retired cop.
Hi, guys. Listen, as you know, I was retired. I'm a retired Chicago police officer. I served the city for over 30 years. But here's my point. Nobody's mentioning, the community. You know, during my time as a police officer, I attended many police funerals. Too many, as a matter of fact. At one funeral, as we were burying Jimmy Doyle, 2 other Chicago police officers were being murdered, trying to arrest his offender, his murderer. But here's the thing. So I go to this funeral out in Fox Lake for Lieutenant Joe, and I was amazed at the turnout, the outpouring of grief, respect, love for this guy. I'd never seen anything like that before in my life. For miles, people lined the streets. People with little kids with handmade signs. We miss you, Lieutenant Joe. I saw adult women crying, and I went up to one and I said, "I'm sorry for your loss. Did you know the lieutenant?" She goes, "No." Well, you seem to be pretty emotional. She goes, "He was a hero. We miss him. We loved him." And then for this to happen, and I just think that's something that a lot of people are missing. These people were just unbelievable out in Fox Lake with this funeral deal. And for this to happen now, my God. And, you know, I'm not going to apologize for Lieutenant Joe, but I know this is a stain on all of us. And for that, I have no sympathy for Lieutenant Joe or his family. I'm sorry.
Thanks for the call, Steve. Yeah,
it was an 18-mile procession. Governor Ronner went. People came from all over.
All right, and this is going to result in a loss of faith among some. All right, we'll pick this up after we check in with Mike Scott. Take more of your calls on the other side.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. That's right, I'm now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. I'm the same guy that's provided listeners with honest advice and outstanding customer service for the past 13 years. The only thing that's changed is where I work. When you needed help refinancing after the Big Corner Bank messed up your loan, even though you've heard thousands of my ads telling you not to waste your time at the Big Corner Bank, you called me and I helped you. If you would like to talk to me about a mortgage, please please give me a call at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Email me at david@pearldavid.com. That's david@PERLDavid.com. Or visit my website, am560david.com. 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA NMLS 19186. PearlMortgage.com licensing.
The Gun Safety Guy's mission is pure and simple: to help good people safely enjoy recreational shooting and improve their ability to protect themselves and their families responsibly. This is what Pastor Ed Bryant, the Gun Safety Guy, has built for you and your family. Pastor Bryant's background and experience enables him to communicate with all of his students, no matter what their age, gender, or ability. New shooters learn the fundamentals. Experienced shooters develop their skills. Above everything, all shooters are taught to value safety first. Family-friendly firearms instruction is the core of the Gun Safety Guy, and I took his pistol class, and it was excellent. And when he says safety is the core of his instruction, it truly is. I'm actually looking forward to taking more of his classes. So give the gift of firearm safety this holiday season. Gift certificates are available. Learn more at thegunsafetyguy.com. Thegunsafetyguy.com is the website. Family-friendly firearms instruction with NRA-certified instructor Pastor Ed Bryant. Thegunsafetyguy.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, more of your phone calls about what to do about the Fox Lake police officer and what the family should do about all the money that they received should they return it. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. 60 degrees, winds out of the south at 7. Russia's top aviation official this morning says investigators examining potential causes of the plane crash over Egypt that took the lives of 224 will include looking for traces of explosives on the wreckage. The British are now on board with the theory that it may have been a bomb that brought down that Russian plane, killing all on board. As Fox News Radio's Simon Owen joins us from London with the latest.
The British government says 3,500 UK tourists were due to fly to Sharm el-Sheikh today. This is the popular resort from where the Russian plane took off. But those tourists are going nowhere, with flights between the UK and Sharm suspended.
We believe there's a significant possibility that the aircraft could have been brought down by an explosive device.
British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond saying UK experts are now examining Egyptian airport security. Egypt condemning the British move as an overreaction. In London, Simon Owen, Fox News.
The chief of South Sudan's Civil Aviation Authority this morning says a cargo plane that crashed yesterday was not authorized to carry passengers. So far, at least 36 have been reported killed. Pressure is building to convince NBC to cancel Donald Trump's guest host appearance on this week's Saturday Night Live. A construction worker who ran into a California university classroom to break what he thought up was a fist fight is being hailed as a hero. 31-year-old Byron Price was remodeling a waiting room at University of California, Merced when he heard a commotion yesterday and rushed in to check it out. He's credited with preventing a student armed with a hunting knife from possibly killing his intended target. That attacker was later killed by police. An organization that helps survivors of officers killed in the line of duty is asking this morning the family of an Illinois police lieutenant found to have staged the scene of his suicide to return its donation. On the day Charles Joseph Glenowitz was found dead, the 100 Club presented a check to the officer's widow for $15,000. CEO Joe Ahern says it's the first time the organization has requested the return of a donation. Chicago police have used DNA to identify a dismembered toddler found in a lagoon in September. The FBI says it was the remains of 2-year-old Kyrian Knox of Rockford. Chicago police are questioning a person of interest in the shooting death of a 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee. That person of interest showed up with a lawyer to police headquarters yesterday to be interviewed. Chicago sports, Blues over the Blackhawks in OT 6-5. White Sox have declined the $10 million option on shortstop Alexi Ramirez and now owe the former All-Star only a $1 million buyout. And the Royals All-Star outfielder Alex Gordon this morning declines his player option. He'll be a free agent. The news, a service of Amtrak. Extra legroom and frame-worthy views come standard with every ticket. Take scenic photos from panoramic windows with views that are expansive in seats that are too. Find saver fares at Amtrak.com. Amtrak, see where the train can take you. Restrictions apply. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
I think America is dying.
The Joe Walsh Show.
Everybody came here to be free. Everybody came here to strike it out on their own. Everybody wanted government to stay out of their hair. Everybody wanted to be free. Not today. We have way too many people in America who no longer want that America.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I'm Willie Wilson, candidate for President of the United States. As President, I pledge to help small businesses grow.
Paid for by Willie Wilson 2016.
No one ever imagines facing Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia and needing full-time care, but it happens. And deciding on the right residential care for mom or dad can be a monumental task. There is a memory care community that focuses on helping your parent or loved one with dementia light up and live life to the fullest, making them feel like family. Autumn Leaves memory care communities see past the diagnosis to the person you know, that your dad was a fantastic cook, or that your mom loved to dance, a person who deserves so much more than being just an Alzheimer's patient. Whether it's through yoga and music therapy or simply by cooking them their favorite meal, Autumn Leaves strives to stimulate their minds and bodies to respect and nurture the person you care so much about. See for yourself the difference Autumn Leaves communities can mean for your family. Autumn Leaves, dedicated solely to the unique needs of memory care patients.
Autumn Leaves has 10 locations in the Chicagoland area offering day-stay respite and assisted living programs. Call 888-662-8886 or visit autumnleaves.com.
736 in our Chicago Radio Deals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Kennedy now has delays all the way, and it's an hour from O'Hare to downtown. No savings in the Express. Outbound 51 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Eden's 34 minutes either way between Lake Cook and the Kennedy. The Eisenhower, an hour and 7 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 44 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 44 minutes. The Ryan, 40 minutes. 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, stop and go Cicero to LaGrange Road. The stalled semi blocking the right center lane. Traffic is a service of RCN Entertainment Redefined. Get award-winning, super-fast 155 internet and awesome digital TV as low as $55.94 per month. Plus, take TV anywhere with RCN to go. It's awesome-amazing. RCN Entertainment Redefined. 1-800-RING-RCN or RCN.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Cloudy, windy, and mild today. A high of 71. 60 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Kelly Financial Services, helping you secure your financial future today. Visit kellyfinancialservicesinc.com.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, is it too soon to start casting the Lifetime movie?
Yes, Dan. Way too soon. Yesterday we found out that Lieutenant Joe Glinowitz committed suicide. He used his police training to stage his own suicide to make it look like a murder. And everyone collectively went, what?
This is the first time as a law enforcement officer in my career that I felt ashamed by the acts of another police officer.
Yeah, committed suicide to
that
cover
was,
up.
But by the way, that was Commander George Falenko of the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force.
It's the ultimate betrayal. He used his suicide to cover up criminal activity. He's been money laundering for 7 years, using the money from an Explorer program, which is supposed to be for children, to pay for his mortgage, to pay for trips, to pay for his son's car repairs, and for an adult website.
I've got it. Willem Dafoe to play Glinowitz. What do you think?
You know who should play Melody?
Judith Light.
No.
Meredith Baxter Burney.
Melissa McCarthy.
Oh, meow.
But the serious matter is that $300,000 people donated to them. 15,000 of it came from the 100 Club, and they want their money back this morning.
Taking your calls, 312-642-5600, the turnkey.pro. Answer line. Let's start with Joan in Tinley Park.
Hi, good morning. I'm a member of the CPD Gold Star family. I feel betrayed, too. My father was killed in the line of duty. And they knew that embezzlement that he did was part of this, and they stood there and they acted, which is a slap in the face to families like me. And I think all that money should go maybe to officers' children so that they have the money to go to college. And I think his family participated, and she knew the trips to Hawaii. That money doesn't come out of the sky. That was a cop's salary. And I think they should be investigated. And if they're found to be guilty, they should go to jail.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Joan. Appreciate it. And they are being investigated. It is worth noting again that the Glinowitz's widow and one of their sons is
the son DJ,
part of a criminal investigation. So this is not over as it pertains to them. Annette on the west side. Annette?
Yes, hello.
Hi, you're on.
Hi. I just wanted to make a couple of points, too. Everybody's saying how people are jumping to judgment. But when people do things like this, people have common sense. It's going to make you stop and think what's going on. Now, if you look at what's been happening with police officers, some police officers who commit these type of dirty crimes, it's easy to jump to a conclusion because you see time after time, again and again, what some people are capable of. This man was very methodical. He threatened an official. He targeted innocent men. He made it a race issue when he said it was one black guy, two whites, whether it was made up or not, or whether he
it wasn't made up.
Sick and he was selfish and he was stupid.
He made it a race issue. He just could have said 3 men or two white men. When a white officer or any other officer, black or any other color, injects a different race into it, these men could have been really hurt.
Thanks.
And another thing,
Annette, I got to jump. I got a lot of calls, but I appreciate the points. Let's go to Ann on the north side.
Oh, thank you for taking my call. I've been listening to everybody, and my take is this, that John Boehner, Hester, this policeman, which one of us can throw the first stone? I mean, if Amy donated money, she could ask for it back. The man didn't kill anybody. Let him rest in peace. That's what I say. He can't speak for himself. He's dead. So
okay, Ann, thanks for the call.
Well, I think he spoke volumes. He was about to get pinched. He knew it. So he staged this elaborate ruse.
And by the way, one of the things, this always happens, like how is it that nobody knew? You know why people who commit fraud get away with it? How did no one know Bernie Madoff was engaged in this Ponzi scheme? How does no one know somebody's defrauding somebody? Because it's the last people you think are living this secret life. They get away with it because they're good at it. So let's not blame people who were buffaloed by Glinowitz,
Well, but we had so much sympathy for his wife and his son, and his wife and his son who spoke to the media. They were in on it.
Well, I mean, they're under investigation.
They're under investigation.
But there was nothing wrong with having empathy for them at the time, based on what we knew.
But she is the one who, she's individual number one, who was, talking about, well, if you retire, we need to hang on to the Explorer program because they needed that money.
Dawn in Oak Park.
Hi, this is Patriot Dawn from Oak Park, who, out of respect for our valiant law enforcement officers across the country and in recognition of the unprecedented actions of the Obama administration to manipulate public opinion against police officers, I respectfully request the broadcasters and the public to reserve judgment on this matter until the evidence has been thoroughly examined by other
Dawn, reserve judgment on who? On Glinowitz?
Yes.
Oh, come on. What is there to reserve judgment on? We're not going to try him in a court of law because he's no longer with us, Dawn. So what is it that?
Because
What
we
is it
have
that?
police officer who is not around to be able to defend himself.
What is it that is?
He needs to
What
take
is
extra
Dawn?
to very carefully examine the evidence.
Yes, we just
and make
wait
sure
a second.
That we are not
Wait a second,
looking at
Dawn.
a frame-up.
Dawn, stop talking over me. What is it about the Major Crimes Task Force and the report that they put out, the questions that were asked and answered yesterday, that is confusing to you? What is there to reserve judgment on?
Well, I have not personally examined the evidence.
Thanks for the call, Dawn. That's my answer. Ralph and Rantoul.
Hey, good morning. Two things. Number one, I guess all these people that rushed to give gifts, unfortunately, they can now regret that. Maybe this is going to dampen free will offerings by people in the future, perhaps.
Yeah.
But, wait for a little more information. But more importantly, it's election season. Here's a new administrator in Fox Lake. The Explorer program had been continuing for a long time. So what was it about a new person who decided to take a look at it that uncovered this? It's interesting to me that year after year after year, we have these career people in municipal, local, state government. A new person comes in very quickly, smells a rat, gets, curious, gets to the heart of a matter. How often could this be repeated across the nation? Not fake suicides, but uncovering corruption that should have been sniffed out long ago.
Thanks for the call, Ralph. I'll tell you, it's a great point, and because the same thing happened in Dixon, where that
54 million she took.
which
How
was
did
incredible,
she take 54 million
incredible. But a new set of eyes. Exactly what Ralph was talking about. A new set of eyes, and then it all unraveled. It's a really good point.
And
Very
he even
good point.
threatened her.
Let's go to Mark in Rolling Meadows.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Yeah, I agree with the caller before. I don't think the family is obligated anyway to get back the funds. Again, people rush to judgment. Polanco spent all day yesterday claiming that they never deemed this situation as a homicide until the investigation was complete. They ruled it a suicide.
Hey, Mark, you don't think morally they have any obligation? Morally, they have obligation to give back the money.
Morally, you're talking about crooks.
Yes,
Right?
right.
So
they do.
You gave money to crooks, and you expect them to give the money back.
You didn't know they were crooks. You were defrauded. You don't believe in restitution when you're to people who've been defrauded?
I believe that everybody who gave money did so on their own accord, their own beliefs, and, they didn't wait for the investigation to be completed.
All right, Mark.
I think they're going to have to give the money back, at least to the 100 Club. I mean, they specifically reached out to the family's attorney and said, we want this back. You need to give us back by week's end.
Glenn in Benton Harbor, Michigan.
Yes, hi. Why is it that people get so upset over a cop, which is, a public servant? He embezzled money. I got it. And, thankfully committed suicide over the shame. But how come people don't have the same unbelievable moral outrage when politicians do the exact same thing? Stealing the money, misappropriating funds, setting people up, ruining people's lives. It's the same thing. They're public servants.
Yeah, but he
Thanks for the
staged
call,
his
Glenn.
he staged his suicide to make it look like a homicide.
Well, it's more dramatic, certainly, but I also think that a lot of people do have outrage. Like, for example, former Illinois governors who cheat the public. Let's go to Joey in Joliet.
Yeah, you're looking for an actor to play Officer Joe. I think the professor in Back to the Future, Christopher Lloyd.
Why is that? Why do you think that would be a good fit?
Oh, my gosh, they're like twins.
All right, thanks for the call, Joey. Mark in Lake in the Hills.
Yeah, my comment was just that, we were talking about how he masterminded his plan. He really didn't have a whole lot of time. This audit was creeping up on him. He had to come up with something real quick. So he came up with the three people and his suicide. But I actually think that he also thought that maybe after if it was ruled a homicide, maybe the audit wouldn't take place, and maybe he would never have been found out. I mean, otherwise, why kill yourself knowing that the audit would still find all that evidence and point to you?
Well, because he didn't want to
He didn't want to spend time in jail.
Well, thanks for the call, Mark. Yeah, and he didn't want to face the music, so to speak. Oh, Frank in Bensonville.
Nobody's ever talked about, or nobody since this has talked about that one police officer that said this was a suicide and was lambasted in the media by everybody else. I'll tell you, they should put that cop on the Jimmy Hoffa cold case file.
Thanks for the call, Frank. Yeah, I think it wasn't so much his assertion that it was a suicide; it was how he chose to assert himself.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he threatened the medical examiner.
Rudd. Yeah.
Rudd.
That was the.
That was the problem.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to make threats as the way to get your point across. That's the issue. Bob on the north side.
You lose the argument.
Hey, Bob.
Thanks for taking my call. I have an issue with all of his other activities as a police officer during this time. Are we to believe that while he's dishonest in taking this cash, he's totally honest and above board, upholding his oath when he arrests people, testifies against people, and has them locked up?
That's a fair question, Bob. Thanks for the call. Mark and Joliet.
Hey, good morning. Hey, at what point, it's unfortunate what happened with this officer, but it was our quote-unquote news media who made this guy into a hero. And at what point are we going to quit being sheeples and jumping every time the news media, the most corrupt news media in the world, says or does something?
No, I'm sorry.
Thanks
I'm not going to let
Mark.
you bash. The department had a funeral for him. He grew up in that area. He went to Antioch High School. It was an 18-mile procession from his high school to his burial place. That would have happened whether or not the media was there.
I actually agree with that. I would say all the media did was amplify an image that was created locally.
Don't miss Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 on November 14th with Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland. Get your tickets at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Good point that last caller made. Today, mostly cloudy, windy, but mild, a high of 71. For the Blaine soccer playoff game, it will be 70 degrees, and we're going to win. And then tonight, it's going to be rain, some thunderstorms, and with that comes the cold. Tomorrow's going to be partly sunny, windy, no rain in the forecast, but it will be cooler, a high of 55. Let's get the travel times from Jim Telemonte.
Amy, that inbound Kennedy is now 1 hour and 12 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. It's 41 minutes from Montrose, 33 in the Express. Outbound improving, though. It's 42 minutes downtown to the airport. Eden's 34 minutes either way between Lake Hook and Montrose. The Eisenhower, 1 hour and 14 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, 55 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 37 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 1 hour and 8 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 44 minutes. The Ryan, 40 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive. Southbound jammed. Wilson to North Avenue. Northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Northbound Tri-State. Slow Cicero to LaGrange Road after there was an earlier stalled truck. Then heavy to the north. Roosevelt to North Avenue and Dempster to before Gulf Road with a crash in the right lane. Adams Tollway stop and go Barrington to Meacham. Veterans Memorial from Boughton to the Reagan Tollway. Butterfield to St. Charles and Army Trail to 290. Jim Talamonte, the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
You've heard me talking about the new website, upstream-ideas.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, then you're missing thoughtful expository content that you won't find anywhere else from those who operate and have operated in the political and policy arenas. Each week, you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current, this week with Steve Moore. That's our long-form interview series with policymakers and opinion leaders. You can also view Illinois by the Numbers this week, BAA1, our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what we can do about them. And you can check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising program, which tackles state and local politics and policy with deep thinkers from the Illinois Policy Institute and the Illinois Opportunity Project. No sacred cows at upstream-ideas.com. No punches pulled. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Homeowners, do you have low water pressure in your shower? You get scalded when someone flushes. Many people don't realize that corrosion in their pipes causes these low-pressure problems, not to mention leaks and rusty water, too. But now, all these problems can be solved with one simple solution. Through the process of repiping, we can replace those old corroded pipes with new, high-quality pipes. You'll have great pressure, clean, clear water, be able to take a shower and run the washing machine at the same time. I'm Jeff Butler, owner of Repipe Specialists. We've helped over 30,000 homeowners, and it only takes us 1 or 2 days to completely repipe your home with a lifetime guarantee and on approved credit for as little as $99 a month. Plus, if you sign up by the end of the month, we'll patch your walls for free. Call now for a repipe, free wall patching, a lifetime guarantee, all for as little as $99 a month. Just call 1-800-REPIPING. That's 1-800-REPIPING. 800-737-4746. 800-737-4746.
The statements and views of this advertiser do not represent the views or opinions of this station.
Y chromosome Adam and mtDNA Eve. God said, man said.com. And there we saw giants, the sons of Anak. The perfect diet. God said, man said.com. God on biracial marriage. Hours of text and audio. 3-day Bible fast. Renews immune system. Which Bible? Which religion? Sin bones. God said, man said.com.
You're a small to mid-sized business with 300 to 3,000 employees. You face the same network security challenges as big businesses do, but can't support a big IT investment, leaving your doors open to advanced cyber threats. Barracuda next-generation firewalls provide all the core features of enterprise firewalls and UTMs, but without hidden costs and deployment hurdles, making owning a big business firewall no big deal for your SMB. Reclaim your network. Try a Barracuda Next Gen Firewall risk-free at barracuda.com/firewalls.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, Amy, I've got a conundrum for you.
Wait, you do?
Yeah, what to do when a Native American leader who is trying to get sports teams like the Washington Redskins to change their quote-unquote racist names dresses up in blackface for Halloween. Because...
what?
Yeah. Because that's what Terry Rambler, the Native American leader who has been leading the charge against the Redskins, did. For Halloween, he dressed up like Bob Marley, also a bit passé.
I haven't seen it, so let me see.
Dressed up like Bob Marley, including full blackface. And you know how we know he did this? Because he posted it on his Facebook page.
What did it? First of all, grown men, stop dressing up for Halloween. Secondly, it's a culture, not a costume. And then, of all people, him, who's screaming about equality and racism, dresses up as a black man.
File that one in the hypocrisy of political correctness file.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
American schools are mass-producing students who are not only largely ignorant of history, science, literature, and geography, but also unable to read, write, or add properly. Among the world's 34 richest countries, the U.S. is ranked 27th in math, 20th in science, and 17th in reading. America's educational crisis is no coincidence. Progressive education says that teaching children how to express themselves and get along with others is more important than teaching them facts or developing their ability to think rationally and independently. If you'd like to know more about the philosophical cause and solution of America's educational crisis, check out Teaching Johnny to Think, a philosophy of education based on the principles of Ayn Rand's objectivism by Leonard Peikoff at ARIradio.com. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Ron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Ron Brook Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ARIradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
For a long time, Turnkey IT has been providing solutions to AM 560 business owners, the name that you have come to know and trust. Turnkey IT takes care of your technology and has a plan that fits your company's IT budget and network needs. Interested in moving some or all of your business to the cloud? Turnkey IT can migrate your network to Microsoft's Office 365. Need someone to call when you can't print, have a lost file, or need tech support? Turnkey IT's got you covered. Offsite backup? Check. On-site support? Check. Help desk support? Check. Turnkey IT staff is professional, friendly, punctual, and will solve all of your technical problems immediately and work even after normal business hours, all for a fixed monthly rate. Turnkey IT knows your network is truly the heartbeat of your company, so focus on your business and leave the technical stuff to the pros. Visit turnkey.pro today for a plan that fits your needs. That's turnkey.pro.
Mike Rowe here. Today I'm with Frank, one of the heating and cooling pros at 1 Hour. Frank's got his head up a vent right now. How's it going up there? Frank knows what he's talking about. He's been with 1 Hour for how long, Frank? 14 years. That's a long time. Over that time, he's worked on tons of different equipment, taken countless hours of training, and that makes Frank the man.
No, Mark Rowe's the man.
I'm sorry, Frank. Say again?
Mike Rowe's the man.
I heard him the first time. For any heating need, call 855 1 Hour today. Say it again, Frank.
Mike Rowe's the man.
That's what I'm talking about. Each independent franchise is licensed in its respective state or county.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, Karen Lewis will be here. She's president of the Chicago's Teachers Union, and she'll tell us if or not they are planning on striking.
And speaking of schools, does your or should your school have a no hugging policy? We'll have that at 8:38.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Hands off, Mike. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're watching right now. Police are questioning a person of interest in a boy's shooting death. The DNA remains found in a Chicago lagoon. Apparently a match of a missing Rockford boy. Oscar Mayer moving to Chicago. Mostly cloudy, windy, and mild today. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. It's not confirmed a bomb dropped that Russian plane from the sky, killing 224 people in the Egyptian desert.
But it looks increasingly likely that that was the case.
The U.S. agrees with British Prime Minister David Cameron, but Egypt does not. Fox's Simon Owen is live in London.
Dave, Britain has suspended flights between the UK and Sharm el-Sheikh, the resort from where the Russian plane took off. Prime Minister Cameron calling it a precautionary measure.
We cannot be certain that the Russian airliner was brought down by a terrorist bomb, but because it's a strong possibility, it's right to act.
As it happens, Cameron is meeting today with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, who is here in London on a pre-arranged visit. Egypt and Russia reject the British assessment as speculation, Dave.
Simon, Donald Trump is still on top of the Fox Republican presidential poll. However,
38% say yes, he is honest and trustworthy, while 56% say no, he isn't.
Fox polling director Dana Blanton even more say Hillary Clinton is not trustworthy, yet she leads the Democratic race by 25 points. Trump is up by 3 over Ben Carson, who 60% of voters say is trustworthy. Helping Trump, he gets way higher marks on handling the economy than any other candidate. There was a small increase in the number of Americans needing unemployment checks last week, 276,000 first-time claims. Tomorrow we get the much-scrutinized October jobs report. 4 people are dead after a shooting at a house in Oakland, Maine last night. She's a neighbor.
There was a lot of police cars started showing up, and ambulances, and just within 10 or 15 minutes, there was complete chaos here.
Police say the gunman killed a man and 2 women, then shot himself outside. 2 of the victims were the parents of a little girl. The 4-year-old was found alive inside. They're mourning in Wallace County, Kansas, the day after a high school football player collapsed during a game. Luke Shem's parents took him off life support.
We have come to terms that Luke, our beautiful gift from God, is no longer with us.
It's unclear if the boy was injured during that game. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Cloudy and 60 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Authorities say an Illinois officer who staged his own death to look like others killed him in Fox Lake in the line of duty felt auditors were close to discovering that he had been embezzling money from a youth program. And there's more to come in the investigation of Fox Lake Police Lieutenant Joe Glinowitz. As AM 560's David Stewart reports.
The evidence against Glinowitz included his bank records and credit card receipts and a lengthy string of text messages he sent as Fox Lake's new village manager started asking questions about the Police Explorer program that he ran and reportedly looted out of tens of thousands of dollars. Village manager Ann Marin says the investigation includes the people on the other end of those texts.
The village fully supports the prosecution of each and every individual who conspired with Lieutenant Glinowitz.
Meanwhile, the 100 Club, an organization that helps the families of fallen officers, wants the Glinowitz family to return the $15,000 the group provided after his death. David Stewart, Chicago.
Chicago police have used DNA to identify a dismembered toddler found in a lagoon in September. The FBI says they were the remains of 2-year-old Kyrian Knox of Rockford. Chicago police are questioning a person of interest in the shooting death of 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee. Investigators saying are looking into whether Lee was the target of gang retaliation. Mayor Rahm Emanuel credits Chicago's workforce and its transportation networks for the decision by Kraft Heinz to move Oscar Mayer's headquarters back to the city where it was founded in 1883. And car lovers may soon be able to see high-end electric vehicles on display along the Magnificent Mile. Crane Chicago Business says Tesla Motors is in talks to lease a property for a showroom on the Mag Mile. The site used to house a Giorgio Armani clothing store. Chicago sports. Blues over the Blackhawks 6-5 in OT. The news a service of CarStar Auto Body Repair Experts. Your car is your baby. So if you're in an accident, tell your insurance company you want to go to CarStar. CarStar will get you back on the road safely, quickly, and with minimal hassle. And all work is guaranteed. CarStar, Chicago's auto repair body experts. 8:04, time for the Fox Business Network and the very latest from the AM 560 Business Beat with Fox's Carol Zimmer.
From the Fox Business Network, stock futures are higher. Maybe not enough people are using ketchup. Kraft Heinz, which also makes Jell-O, says it will close 7 factories and lay off about 2,600 employees. Heinz, which has a reputation for cost-cutting, combined with Kraft in a $46 billion deal in March. If you're a millennial in search of a career, you might want to take a look at cybersecurity. According to a survey by Raytheon, 79% of U.S. businesses had a cybersecurity incident within the last year. And according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average salary is $116,000. Football fans will be seeing more ads for Bud Light. The beer brand is expanding its current sponsorship with the NFL and adding 5 more seasons to the contract in a deal that's said to be worth $1.4 billion. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Carol Zimmer.
8:05 in Chicago and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
One event. One day only. With all of these names together. Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, KT McFarland, Katie Pavlich, and Guy Benson. It's Freedom Summit Chicago 2015, November 14th in Itasca. Tickets begin at just $29 and are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. Don't miss this exclusive event. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And Contour Next gives you a second chance, allowing you to reapply to the same strip when the first sample is not enough, saving you time and money. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Walgreens.
What do Fortune 500 companies do when they need to find new workspace? They call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES. With Regis, you can easily expand today and get your people up and running tomorrow. With fully furnished tech-powered co-working spaces, offices, and admin support, Regis manages the details so you can focus on your business. Short-term, long-term, all on your terms. Regis makes it easy and affordable. Call Regis now at 1-800-OFFICES and get a free office or meeting room for a day. Regis, here to help you grow.
8:07 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The Edens has a travel time of 34 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose, the inbound Kennedy. An hour and 12 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 41 minutes from Montrose, 33 in the Express. Outbound 42 minutes to the airport from downtown. The Eisenhower, an hour and 14 minutes Thorndale to the Loop. 55 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 37 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 37 minutes. The Ryan, 40 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State stop and go Cicero to LaGrange Road. There are delays Plainfield Road to 31st, Roosevelt to North Avenue, and Oakton to before Golf with a crash in the right lane. Adams Tollway stop and go Barrington Road to Meacham, westbound from Arlington Heights Road to 53. Northbound Veterans Memorial, jammed. Boughton to the Reagan Tollway, Butterfield to St. Charles, the Army Trail toll to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly cloudy, windy, and mild with a high 71. Windy and mild tonight with periods of rain and a thunderstorm with a low 50. Then tomorrow, partly sunny, windy, and cooler with a high 55. Clear and cooler at night, low 37. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
61 at O'Hare. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Ayn Rand Institute and the Yaron Brook Show. Heard Saturday afternoons at 4 here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
There is new information tonight about the focus of the criminal investigation now that the death of Lieutenant Gliniewicz has been ruled a suicide.
This is the first time as a law enforcement officer in my career that I felt ashamed.
Hi, I'm Donald Trump, and I'll be hosting Saturday Night Live this week.
I'm outraged that Saturday Night Live has invited a racist to be its host.
We want justice, but stop shooting unarmed people. But they don't want to deal with that. They would rather start arguments with celebrities.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning. What up, Dan and Amy? So this is interesting. We're going to speak with Chicago Teachers Union President Karen Lewis, which is always enjoyable.
Yes.
Sometimes spirited, but it's always enjoyable to talk to her. She's honest about her views, so it makes for a good conversation. But the backdrop to that is some recent data on the Chicago public school system in terms of performance. And I know there are some that want to reject any metrics for CPS performance, but I'm not one of them. So the 2015 National Assessment of Educational Progress tests, only 30% of Chicago's fourth graders were proficient in math, 25% of eighth graders proficient in math. For fourth grade reading, only 27% of Chicago students scored proficient, and that number dropped to 24% for eighth graders. And this is according to a report by Catalyst Chicago. So I guess maybe there's been some marginal improvements in performance over the last, decade. But nothing to write home about per the CPS's financial situation and the amount of money that continues to be poured into the district, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. Let's get Karen Lewis's opinion. Karen Lewis, president of the Chicago Teachers Union, joins us now. Karen, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me. But I want to go back to the NAEPS because I don't think you know what proficient means. Proficient doesn't mean satisfactory. Okay, it means expert. It means expert. That's like getting an A+. Those are the numbers of children that are getting A+ on these exams.
So what percentage are satisfactory?
I don't know. I don't have those numbers in front of me.
Okay.
But when you start reading out what's proficient, I think the problem is that people don't understand what the word proficient means, and they assume it means something else. So that's unfortunate.
Well, we do want children to be good at math and reading in the early grades, don't we?
Yes.
Okay.
But not everybody's excellent. I mean, this is not good. This is like, again, when you say proficient, we're talking excellent.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think those numbers are about where they expect to be considering.
Considering what?
Well, I mean, considering the high poverty level, considering the lack of resources, I think they're inching up. I mean, but they're not going to be huge gains in NAEP scores. And they're not going to be those gains. So if you're looking for those, that's not the place to look. You can look for huge gains in other scores, but not in NAEPS. And NAEPS tend to be the same periodically. They don't tend to do great, miraculous.
Well, can you point to other measurements where we've seen dramatic improvements?
When we've seen what kind of improvement? Adequate?
Yeah, adequate, substantial, dramatic, adjective of your choice.
I'm sorry. If I had known that that's what you wanted to talk about.
No,
I
mean,
want to talk about a possible pending strike.
Yeah, but I mean, performances.
I would have had those data for you.
Okay, well that's fine. We can talk about it another time. But
Karen Lewis, you're taking a early strike vote today, correct?
No, we're taking a mock strike vote.
Okay, and why might you be going on strike?
Why might we be going on strike? Because we still don't have a contract, and we're trying to solve that problem. I mean, matter of fact, we have negotiations today. So,
well, what are you trying to negotiate for you and the teachers?
Well, we're trying to negotiate workplace conditions because we're very clear that the money isn't there. Every time we talk about, lowering class size, doing things that are good for kids, making sure they have really good, high-quality educations that include art, music, librarians, physical education, things of that nature, they tell us, well, you do know we have a $1.1 billion deficit. I said, okay, so let's just work on the things that are non-economic, that make children's lives better, So let's talk about those things. Let's talk about things that would make our lives better. Like, how about getting rid of some of the redundancy around paperwork? Those are the kinds of things. I mean, that's not even really difficult stuff, but when people dig in, they dig in. So what we're trying to do is bring a much more sympathetic ear to the table, and, hopefully they'll hear us.
Well, Forrest Claypool and your buddy Rahm are trying to move the focus off the teachers union and this discussion about finances internally and put it on Springfield and to say, well, look, Springfield, if they could give us $500 million, then we could get our house in order, or Springfield needs to do this and Springfield needs to do that. Even if you agree with that the state should be doing more than it's doing for CPS, is there anything that Forrest Claypool and CPS and Mayor Rahm Emanuel should be doing that they're not?
Oh, wow. Yes. I think one of the things they could start looking at is new sources of revenue that are progressive as opposed to regressive. We'd like to see, for example, there's a law that I think was instated in 1980 that said that no municipality could enforce a transaction tax, or a financial transaction tax. We'd like to get rid of that law.
So you could have the LaSalle Street tax on financial transactions.
Exactly, like 0.0025 cents on the transactions. I mean, that's such a tiny amount. I mean, we're looking at it like a penny.
What about,
and that would make a huge difference.
On other sources of revenue, what about a city income tax and or a state progressive income tax?
A state progressive income tax would be the best, because then that would actually help the entire state, not just Chicago.
But are you open to a city income tax?
I'm open to any kind of new revenue that is progressive, but not regressive. Mm-hmm. So yes, we are open to that.
So Mayor Emanuel yesterday urged you to drop talk of this silliness of a strike and join forces with the CPS to drive to get the $480 million in pension help from Springfield. Are you entertaining this offer?
I'm not entertaining anything silly, so I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Well, you're trying to push lawmakers in Springfield to help you bail out CPS.
Yes, but the law, the bill that they have right now is not a bill that we would support, and we don't support it because it is not a solution. It's not a structural solution. It's a quick fix, and then we're going to have the same problem, 3 or 4 years from now. And I think what we ought to be trying to do is solve the structural problem.
I read one news account that said that you had said to members of the Chicago Teachers Union they should save 25% or set aside 25% of their salary at present to prepare for a strike in early next year. I know that's a precautionary measure. I suspect your posture is you don't want to strike. But, I mean, this is not just an exercise in saber-rattling. This seems to me like there's a real game of brinkmanship here, and you're ready to walk out with your rank and file if that's what it takes.
Well, again, it depends on the rank and file. We need to hear what they have to say, and that's why we need to have a mock strike vote. Because not only are we going to have a vote about whether or not they'll strike, we have other questions that we need to have answered. So, I mean, that's the whole point of really involving our rank and file in our decision-making process. We don't have a top-down. There's this notion that Karen Lewis gets up and says, do this, do that, do the other, and that's what people do. there's nothing further from the truth.
Yeah, but you must you must be receiving feedback from your teachers right now, and they must be saying that they like what you're doing. They're encouraged by the postures you're taking.
Well, I think they want to make sure that they're supported appropriately. So those are the kinds of things that we do. You know, we work with the credit union, for example, to make sure people have money saved. But this is more along the line of why are we doing what we're doing? We're doing what we're doing so we have some leverage at the table to look again at the non-economic things or the things that we know that ultimately are better for kids. So think about it. Forrest Claypool originally announced that he would be handing out pink slips like in the next couple of weeks. He had to push that back because who's going to do the work?
Right. Well, there's talk of getting rid of our special education teachers.
Who's going to put grades in?
Yeah.
Who's going to put grades in at the end of January if we've got all these people who have been, let go or laid off or whatever? So, part of the problem is you cannot look at running a school system like you can at are the trains on time.
Well, I think there's posturing on both parts. I mean, your mock vote today has upset them, and him saying that he's going to fire 5,000 or, let go of 5,000 teachers. It just seems like a political game to me.
It seems like somebody's looking at a balance sheet to me.
He's been saying that for a while. Yeah, he has been saying that for a while, though, Amy.
Karen, we're talking to Karen Lewis, president of the Chicago Teachers Union. I just want to go back to something. We've had this conversation before. We've talked to you a number of times. And one of the areas where we have agreement is on curriculum to some extent. Here's the extent, because you're talking about non-economic things with CPS right now, you said, that the way CPS does foreign language, the way CPS does science doesn't make any sense based on what we know about how children learn. Foreign languages should be in the primary grades. The first science class a high school freshman should take is a physical science class, not biology. Is that part of the conversation, curriculum?
No, and because we can't bargain over that. We cannot bargain. That's a management right. We absolutely. So here's the thing that I find very interesting. The governor wants to limit collective bargaining rights. Ours are already limited. We can't collectively bargain class size. We can't collectively bargain curriculum. But that's sort of good on one level because that means that each school can develop the curriculum that's best suited for their population, their demographic.
All right, Karen Lewis, president of the Chicago Teachers Union. Mock strike vote today. We'll be watching. Thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
And she joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
See Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland at Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th. Tickets on sale at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Today, mostly cloudy, windy, and warm, 71 degrees. What a nice treat for the first week of November. But things are going to change tonight and into tomorrow. Rain, thunderstorms tonight. And then by tomorrow, it'll be partly sunny, windy, a lot cooler, a high of 55. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. And Dan Kennedy inbound. It's an hour and 4 minutes, so O'Hare to downtown. 33 minutes from Montrose and 25 on the Express. Outbound 34 minutes to the airport. Eden's 30 minutes like Cook to Montrose. Outbound 35. The Eisenhower. An hour and 14 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. 55 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 37 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 36 minutes. The Ryan, 40 minutes. 95th to the Loop. Big delays on Lakeshore Drive. Southbound Wilson to North Avenue and northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Northbound Tri-State Jam. 95th to the Hinsdale Oasis. Roosevelt to North Avenue. Then from the Toohey Toll to before Gulf, where there's a crash in the two right lanes. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Oh, I got a great night's sleep last night. Snuggled up to my pillow. I love it. And so does Chuck. Chuck's a avid AM 560 The Answer listener, and he also has a My Pillow.
Well, I got to tell you, I was skeptical at first listening to all the commercials, and when I received the pillow, took it out of the package, tried it the first night, put my head down, and I was asleep instantly. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, so if you want to be like Chuck and millions of others, go to MyPillow.com, type Amy, A-M-Y, in the promo code. You'll get 2 pillows for the price of 1. MyPillow helps with chronic neck pain, insomnia, allergies. If you snore, try it out. Headaches, Plus, MyPillow is washable and it keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. It's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. It is American-made. So go to MyPillow.com, type Amy in the promo code, or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
It's a great product. The years I was on it for like about 3 years before, and I noticed I was not sick at all. And that couple of months that I was off of it, I ended up having a cold, and I haven't had a cold in like all the years that I was on it before. So I'm back on it again, and I don't intend to get off of it again because I've seen the proof in the pudding, you know.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code Chicago.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a canceled plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we're talking to Karen Lewis about CPS, the possible strike. I'll tell you, boy, talk about the soft bigotry of low expectations. The argument we got into on the definition of proficient was a little bit strange to me with regard to the national, the NAEP tests. We got one email, definition of profession as excellent rather than basic or okay. It was strange from my experience as a student and a parent of 3 students, getting a lot of messages like that. By the way, an interesting piece in Feeder's column today in the Tribune, WYCC TV, the publication. It's going up for auction next year. City owns it right now. It's valued at over $500 million. So
really?
So the license. So maybe the city needs to get out of the TV business too. There's $500 million that they don't need to take from statewide, from taxpayers statewide, although, they'll always find a reason to take more. Neil in LaGrange on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, good morning. I love your show. So this is what I have read, or the history. So 20 years ago or so, the Chicago school system told Springfield, we need this help to fix our schools. So Springfield changed the law, gave Chicago the autonomy. Then, what was it, about 15 years ago, where they stopped paying into the pensions like they were supposed to. From what I read, the unions knew about that the pension holidays were happening, and they said, oh, yeah, it's okay. And now, and at the time, they also said, the experts said that it's not sustainable. It can't work. And all the pundits said, oh, yeah, you'll be fine. We'll catch up out in the out years. Well, so now the money's not there, and they want Springfield to bail them out. Did I kind of get that right?
Yeah, you got it mostly right, Neil. Thanks for the call. But you've got one piece missing. Karen Lewis has a plan as well. At least she's honest about it, unlike the politicians. If she LaSalle Street tax to get the exchanges and all the insurance business, we want to get that out of Chicago. So financial transaction tax, statewide progressive income tax, make it progressive from flat, and also she's open to the idea of a city income tax. Mm-hmm. So for Karen Lewis, at least she's honest that it's all about revenue. Tiny Dancer and these other hack Dem feudal lords, they pretend that it's not all about revenue while pursuing essentially the same policies as Karen Lewis, other than just deficit spending and borrowing. Sean from Elmwood Park.
First of all, proficient means skilled or competent. Expert means expert.
I don't know how a teacher, the head of the union, doesn't know that. The second thing is this isn't going to affect their kids because 50% of them send their kids to private school, so that they could care less if they close their daycare centers. But do you realize how many people do not know that buyers and sellers pay transfer stamps in Chicago? Every time there's a transaction, the city gets 10% of the sale price.
They just want to what they're big. Yeah.
The buyer pays 7%. So you pay what you pay for the house, and you pay 7% in transfer stamps. And as for financial tax, they're looking to get out anyway. The Mercantile Exchange, the CBOE, all of them. You tax them, and they're gone. You've already killed the Mercantile Exchange. You've got thousands upon thousands of people who used to work there that right now are driving around smoking cigars looking very dashing. That's what's really happening.
Thanks for the call, Sean.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Here's Dr. Howard, formulator of Balance of Nature, an all-natural, 100% organic fruit and vegetable supplement.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Get real today with Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
It's time for a little R&R, courtesy of ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Escape to Wisconsin with an overnight stay package for the Schuster Mansion Bed and Breakfast in Milwaukee. Spend the night in Molly's room, their 2-room luxury suite with a private bath. It includes breakfast in the Victorian dining room and fresh chocolate chip cookies, yours for only $79 per couple, valued at $169 a night. And hey, if you need to stay closer to home but want to laugh out loud and be a part of the show, go to Comedy Sports Improv. Tickets are normally $44 a pair. You'll find them at ChicagoRadioDeals.com for only $22. And back by popular demand, experience Gaylord Fine Indian Cuisine. Gaylord serves an extensive lunch and dinner menu of delicious Indian food. This deal only $25 for a $50 gift card. Gaylord Fine Indian Cuisine is on Mall Drive just south of Woodfield Mall. Make a date night and take advantage of all these restaurant deals just waiting for you only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, it's Dan's favorite subject, hugging. Are we all just going to hug?
Should it be banned in schools as I have banned it in studio? We'll answer that question at 8:38.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and give a warm, big hug to Mike Scott.
Cloudy and 61 degrees. BNSF trains, Metro trains, are stopped at this moment. We don't know exactly where. Jim Talamonte will have additional information, what he knows, in just a few minutes on the stoppage of BNSF trains this morning on that Metro line. Russia's top aviation official says investigators examining potential causes of the plane crash over Egypt are looking for traces of explosives on the wreckage. Both Russia and Egypt are dismissing suggestions this morning by Britain and the U.S. that a bomb brought down that plane. Thousands of refugees are trapped in the eastern Aegean Islands as a ferry strike in Greece extends to a fourth straight day. Pressure is building to try and convince NBC to cancel Donald Trump's guest host appearance on this week's Saturday Night Live. State police in Louisiana meeting with city marshals in Marksville who fired on a car Tuesday night, killing a 6-year-old boy. The marshals were chasing the boy's father, who sped off when they tried to serve a warrant. Investigators are casting a wider net this morning after confirming the death of an Illinois police officer was, in fact, a suicide. Authorities said yesterday that Fox Lake officer Joseph Glinowitz staged his own death on September 1st to cover up years of embezzlement. Chicago police using DNA to identify a dismembered toddler found in a lagoon in September. The FBI saying the remains were that of 2-year-old Kirian Knox Wednesday. The family has been notified, and the investigation continues to determine why and how the boy was dismembered. An electrical problem this morning is blamed for why the DuSable Bridge was stuck open. Bridge carries Michigan Avenue traffic across the Chicago River. City officials say it was left upright in the upright position for over an hour yesterday following a regularly scheduled bridge lift. The electrical issues this morning, according to Chicago officials, are fixed, and after that, the bridge was lowered. Chicago sports, NHL, Blues over the Blackhawks, 6-5 in OT. And the White Sox have declined a $10 million option on shortstop Alexi Ramirez. The news, a service of RCN Entertainment Redefined. Get RCN NS award-winning mega-fast 155 Internet Plus. Watch TV anywhere with RCN to go, all for as low as $55.94 per month. It's mega-fast-tastic. RCN Entertainment Redefined, 800-RING-RCN or RCN.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees frustration in the GOP.
You know, I'm being divisive right now because I want to win. I know how to win. That's what I have to do.
There you go. The establishment guys are pulling their hair out over these poll numbers. And the louder they complain, it seems like the higher the numbers go for people like Trump and Ben Carson.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas. Great coffee. Period.
Do you dread going into that dark, damp, creepy place known as your crawl space?
Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal, and I'm happy to tell you that your crawl space doesn't have to be a scary place. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL and we'll transform your creepy crawl space into a clean, dry, healthy area of your home. Are you aware that what happens in your crawl space directly affects your family's health and your energy costs? The natural airflow of your home carries moisture, gases, and odors from your crawl space into your upstairs living environment. And let's not forget about all that cold air that will have your furnace working overtime. For over 36 years, many homeowners have trusted Permaseal with their most valuable possession, their home, and rightfully so. Our mission is to provide a superior customer experience and the greatest value. Call 800-421-SEAL to schedule your free, no-obligation estimate. That's 800-421-SEAL or visit permaseal.net.
Best for being better, Permaseal.
Slow down, step back in time, and spend the night at the Schuster Mansion in Milwaukee, where history and tradition come together. The Schuster Mansion is not just a bed and breakfast. It's a private retreat created for you to rest, relax, and enjoy. Each guest room has been lovingly curated with period furniture, romantic decor, and antiques. There's a modern private bath for every room. Whether you're celebrating a special event or just want to escape from the everyday bustle, the Schuster Mansion has just the room or suite to fit your mood. Each overnight stay includes a homemade breakfast in the Victorian dining room and fresh chocolate chip cookies any time of day. Be sure to reserve a seat at the table for high tea, featuring a buffet of flavored teas and a variety of savory scones and sweets. Call Laura Sue to make a reservation at 414-342-3210. 414-342-3210. It may be Wisconsin, but why stay in a cabin when you can stay in a castle? SchusterMansion.com.
8:37. Time to check the climate of your business with Air Comfort, and time to check the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Metro reports huge delays on the BNSF line. There's been a pedestrian-related incident near Harlem involving an equipment train, and there are also delays on the Milwaukee North line due to mechanical issues. Edens Expressway is 30 minutes from Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 35. Kennedy, a little better, an hour from O'Hare to downtown, outbound 34 minutes. The Eisenhower, an hour and 14 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 37 minutes. Stevenson, 57 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound now fine. The ride, still 40 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, the delays are from around 95th to the Hinsdale Oasis, then Roosevelt to North Avenue, and from the Bensonville Bridge to before Gulf Road with a crash in the right lane. Adams Tollway stop and go Barrington to Meacham, and westbound from Arlington Heights Road to 53. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Cloudy, windy, mild today, high near 71. 61 at O'Hare. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Heroes Talk Radio. Learn the secrets to planning a tax-free retirement income by listening to Heroes Talk Radio Saturday afternoons at 5.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
I love you. You love me. Oh, boy.
Hug it up.
We're
a happy. Do you know who this is? Oh my God.
Barney.
Good job.
Yeah.
He's for me to you.
That's kind of disturbing that I know that.
Then, yeah. You don't have children. How do you know that that's
no
Barney?
touching. Don't touch me.
Oh my
no
God.
touching.
When you were a kid, did you have a sign on you? Don't touch this. Done.
You can't touch this. And I wore the MC Hammer pants, too.
But you don't seem like the hugging type.
I'm not really. I don't.
Do you high
Any of you touch my stuff, and I'll kill you. Any of you touch me. Take it easy, Francis. You know how I always say about schools now in the this enlightened era, which we're privileged to live, that rules have replaced adult judgment, and that is not a positive development. You know how I say that all the time? It's because I like to continue to be right. And
oh my God.
The Oviedo Middle School outside of Orlando, Florida, has proved me right again. Listen to this story. A before-school hug between friends ended in detention for one of the students, and now her parents are questioning the school's policy and lawyering up. Here is...
Lawyering up?
Yeah, that's right. Over a hug between friends. These are 8th graders.
Oh.
Listen to a young Ella, the 8th grade student at Jackson Heights Middle School in Oviedo.
I just hugged them. I don't know.
It was a before-school hug between friends that ended in detention.
It was literally a second.
It just says PDA. You don't think about when your friend says, I had a bad day, that this is going to be a discipline problem.
In its code of conduct, the Seminole County School District bans inappropriate touching, but leaves interpretation up to principals. Jackson Heights Middle School goes even further. This year's manual bans hugs entirely.
So like every middle school student here should walk around in a bubble so you can't touch people.
But if it's in the manual...
Oh, right. The manual was handed down from on high.
We went through our CPS Code of Conduct pamphlet, remember? When we did that
Yes,
here?
it was insane.
Yeah, it was, but it didn't say no hugging. But if it was in the manual...
Then you're not allowed to think. You have to disengage your brain. And this is
I mean, it's hugging. It's a part of life.
This is the point
It's a way to survive if you're lonely.
Well, do you need to hug it out? Because David Stripling is ready to hug you.
Everything you
needed.
touch, one way or another, ends up dead.
That would be me. So here's Ella's mother talking about the vaunted handbook and the common sense or lack thereof at the middle school her daughter attends.
This is the second incident between Ella and the same boy. She got a warning last month when the boy put his hand on her head.
I do think about inappropriate touching and boys and girls at this age having feelings for one another. But that's not what we're dealing with here. And if administration can't tell the difference between a friendly, how you doing hug and an inappropriate hug, then I think we have another big problem.
I think we did. Yes. That dramatic music was our edition.
Government. A tap on the head? A friendly little pat on the head? That was the first problem? And now they lightly, quickly hugged each other.
These all constitute PDAs, and so no touching. And I mean, I think that the mom is right. To make a distinction between the two. They're not mauling each other in the hallway. The girl demonstrated it was kind of like a hug and release. It's just like hi, kind of hug.
Well, but they're going to have proofs because they're actually getting the surveillance video that shows the actual hug. That's what the attorneys obtaining today. A hug?
You got to break it down frame by frame, like the Rodney King video or something. I mean, this is what it's come to.
I hope they release that to the public so we could see this hug.
This is what it's come to for two reasons. One, trial lawyers. because everybody wants to protect themselves from litigation, so wants to create these fictional worlds without consequence or judgment or interaction, touching, and secondly because of political correctness. But look, I am not a proponent of hug. When people come up and try and hug me,
what do you do?
I push them to the ground normally, to make it clear so that they shouldn't be approaching me in that aggressive posture. But no, seriously, this for kids interacting with one another. There's no ability to exercise some semblance of making such distinctions.
Well, you can't hold hands. There's no arm linking. I mean, but girls do that all the time too. On the playground, they go arm in arm and they hold hands and they hug, and that's just wrong in this school.
Text from 708, OMG, my daughter would be in detention every day. Right. I mean, don't you want kids to be like exuberant and friendly and interact and socialize?
Compassionate. Hugging is a sign of compassion.
That's why I don't do it.
I know.
Or allow it. Not in my presence.
How do you think this is going to end?
Well, I mean, I think I don't know how it's going to end. I mean, it's this become a bit of a national story now, so maybe the deep thinkers in charge of the Seminole County School District and this middle school in particular will rethink their idiotic lobotomized policy. But I don't know. This whole thing
taking this district's policy way too far.
Everything is a PDA. I mean, I don't like people mauling each other in public, right? I mean, even romantically speaking, adults. I'm not talking about kids. But the whole idea that
that's freedom of expression. They can do it.
Well, I understand. I'm not saying it should be illegal.
Don't make me get out my Constitution, the Bill of Rights in my back pocket.
Detention center. But everything is a PDA with young, relatively innocent kids. I mean, by the time of the 8th grade, they're not so innocent anymore, as I remember. Being an 8th grader myself. But
did you ever hug or kiss anybody in the hallways?
No, I never have. No, I mean, I never have to this day. Ever. No one. I am an island.
Did you go to a co-ed school?
I was like wheeled into the classroom like Hannibal Lecter and then wheeled out.
That's after you had your fava beans.
So there was no real touching or embracing of me.
And I don't like nobody touching my stuff. So just keep your meat hooks off. If I catch any of you guys in my stuff, I'll kill you.
Lighten up, Francis.
Don't miss Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 on November 14th with Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland. Get your tickets at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Text from George in Elk Grove Village. Amy hugged me. I'll never forget it.
That's right. I hugged him at the View and Brew. I remember that. I know we were near the that Golden Tee game, Dan, that you were supposed to play against them, and I gave him a big hug because you didn't show up. That's why I hugged him, because I felt bad for him. That was a sympathy hug.
And while I was hugging the arcade game.
Here's your forecast. Mostly cloudy today, windy, mild. The warm weather continues, a high of 71. But tonight, it all changes. Rain, thunderstorms are going to come through here, and with it bring the cold. So tomorrow, Friday, will be partly sunny, windy, and a lot cooler, a high of just 2 nickels, 55. Let's get the travel times. Is there a dime on the roadway? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Well, there's a big 60 as far as the travel time goes on the inbound Kennedy. It's still an hour from O'Hare to downtown. 34 minutes from Montrose, 27 on the Express. Outbound 34 minutes from downtown to the airport. The Edens, 30 minutes like Cook to Montrose. Outbound 35. The Eisenhower is still brutal. In fact, it's gotten worse. An hour and 19 minutes from Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 35 minutes. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. It's fine outbound. The Ryan, 40 minutes, 95th to downtown. Big delays on the northbound tri-state, mainly from the Grand Avenue curve to before Gulf Road, where there's a crash still blocking the right lane. The Adams Tollway has delays eastbound Barrington Road to Meacham and westbound from Arlington Heights Road to 53. It's really slow. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Tom Thumb Hobby and Crafts, serving hobby and crafting enthusiasts since 1965, has moved and is now open in Niles. After 49 years in Evanston, Tom Thumb is excited to announce their new location at 6001 West Grosse Pointe Road in Niles. Tom Thumb features craft supplies, dollhouses, miniatures, scrapbooking, beads, candle making, and knitting. For the hobbyist, Tom Thumb has trains, model building, architectural supplies, rockets, and pine cars. Tom Thumb is the oldest skateboard shop in Illinois. Day. Come visit Tom Thumb Hobby and Craft at their new location at 6001 West Grosse Pointe Road in Niles. For more information and directions, please visit TomThumbCrafts.com or call 847-869-9575. That's TomThumbCrafts.com or call 847-869-9575. A proud supporter of AM 560 and Feed the Children. Tom Thumb Hobby and Craft, 6001 West Grosse Pointe Road in Niles, and online at TomThumbCrafts.com.
When flipping houses, there's one golden rule: cash talks. I'm going to show you how you can easily get $10,000 plus all the cash you'll ever need for free. I'm Andrew Holmes, popular radio show host and founder of Chicago's #1 flipping team, and I've flipped over 600 houses in Chicago right under your nose. And now I'm going to show you how. I'm holding a free seminar right here in the Chicagoland area where I'll give a select few the opportunity to use my funding to flip houses and net up to $40,000 per deal without spending a dime of your own money. You don't need good credit and you don't need any of your own money. If the deal is good, you'll get the funds. The first 100 people to call 844-MONEY40 and register will receive my Blueprint to Real Estate Wealth System for free. All you have to do is find a great deal and pass it on to me, and I'll give you $10,000. Time is running out. Seating is very limited. Call 844-MONEY40. That's 844-MONEY40.
This is Dan Proft with an Upstream Idea, brought to you in part by the Illinois Opportunity Project. In the brave new world of big data, sometimes we forget that politics is about people's lives. When we forget this fundamental truth, people without political clout get hurt, and all of us suffer a loss of dignity in the process. And so the number for your consideration in this installment of Illinois by the Numbers is 47. 47th is where Illinois ranks nationally in the provision of services to persons with developmental disabilities. Providing or not providing for those who need state support through no fault of their own is a mirror that reflects our humanity, our moral health. The result is families who have a family member with a developmental disability have fled Illinois just as entrepreneurs have to live in, well, more civilized states. This is happening on our watch. As an Illinois resident, this is happening on my watch. We are all culpable, and now none of us can any longer pretend not to know. For more ideas like this, visit upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we were talking about this case in Orlando area middle school where a 8th grade girl was given detention for hugging a friend. No hugging, no touching. A text from 815 makes a very good point. Regarding kids banned from hugging in school, yet boys can shower in the girls' locker room. That makes sense. Yeah, that's a good dichotomy she presents. Yeah, a good kind of paradox. But there was a lot of hugging, I know, after your playoff volleyball game yesterday because, as I understand it, your team was ill-prepared and
oh my gosh,
and lost.
No, listen.
Sounds like a coaching failure.
I coached a very well game.
I coached a very well game?
That made no sense at all. I'm
Kevin
sorry.
McCarthy.
I'm still licking my wounds. I'm very upset. We made it to the playoffs. Blaine, 5th and 6th grade, girls volleyball, and nothing is more exciting than girls volleyball.
That's true.
Well, you remember the highlight reel on ESPN when we beat Bell?
Yeah.
First time since 1970.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was on Sports Center.
Well, also because there were dogs that were circling the field house because of that sounds that only they could hear.
Hey, that's 5th grade girls screaming. You know, they were so happy because we haven't beaten Bell since 1972. And there's an actual, I'm not kidding you, plaque in the principal's office that shows that documents the last time Blaine beat Bell in 5th and 6th grade girls volleyball. So it was a pretty big deal. So we made it.
What did you do? Like a little Jackie Robinson West? You bring in some ringers?
No. I took some girls from the soccer field.
Oh.
So since we beat Bell, we made it to the city finals, and we didn't last past the first round. We had our game last night, and we got handled. We got Logandale. Very good players. Very, very. They've been playing for years, and they played well together. We played scared, and you can't win if you played scared.
Do you think the other team may have been juicing?
No, I don't think.
Were there maybe emery boards or were there spitting on the ball involved? No, so you're not suggesting anyone cheated.
They didn't even they were so unintimidated by us. They didn't even pull their hair back. They didn't even break a sweat. They just slammed us with the serves, and it was over in 2 games, 18-4 and 18-8. So we made a little bit of a comeback, but during one of the timeouts, I just decided to tell jokes because there was no hope. I mean.
Good coaching.
No, I did. Let's. Hey,
a timeout. I
what's
just want
the guy's favorite pie? Blueberry pie. Ooh, isn't that funny?
Well, those jokes certainly didn't help. That didn't help
But
rally
it was
a
to the point
comeback.
where we were getting so slammed that we just had to distract them some way.
No, it's a great lesson for the girls from their coach during a timeout mid-game that we're losing. There's no chance we're going to make this up. So quit, and I'm gonna work on some of my material with you.
I just wanted to distract them. But yeah, so the thing is,
It's good.
I don't know if I'm
Distract them from the chore
from the
at
pain.
hand.
No, it was.
Do you think Blaine is going to Alexi Ramirez you and decide not to pick up the option next year?
See, that's the thing. I don't know about my future with this volleyball club.
Well, I mean, look, Blaine wants a winner.
Oh my God.
And there's nothing wrong with that. These are tough front office decisions that have to be made, and so
It was a volunteer position. Nothing's worse than being fired from your volunteer job.
Yeah,
really. But
that's a real
I made
commentary.
a case for myself yesterday. I said we went 4-2 for the season. Again, let me tell you that we beat Bell.
Yes.
Something we haven't done since 1972 under my guidance.
And I recall you were handsomely compensated with a illicit cash-filled envelope that made its way from the stands to your purse somehow.
Well, I don't know if I should say anything about that.
Yeah, not without an attorney present.
It was an end of the season gift.
Yes.
And they said there'll be more of this, Jacobson, if you go far in the playoffs.
And so there's not going to be any more of that.
So the question is, do I have to give the money back?
You don't have to give the money back, but no more sweet 5th and 6th grade volleyball nectar because you weren't prepared for the big game.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
AST for Industry. This is John Haidt. My company is Anti-Seize Technology. We are the company behind hundreds of products used by industry and manufacturing worldwide. For over 35 years, my local company has made lubricants, adhesives, and sealants. I put my products up against any other company for quality and value. That's why we say AST for Industry.
Your maintenance crew can save time, money, and your equipment. Slick-On Flow Lube is a superior spray-on industrial lubrication for your sliding, rolling, squeaky, turning, press-fitting needs. Slick-On Flow Lube keeps your equipment in service and reduces costly breakdowns. Slick-On Flow Lube is a great product for your maintenance team from Anti-Seize Technology.
We will prove products from Anti-Seize Technology are better for your industry. Contact us for a demonstration. Go to AST4Industry.com. Remember, AST4Industry.com. Check out our line of lubricants, adhesives, and sealants for your company. AST4Industry.com.
Are you ready to take your education to the next level? Arizona State University now offers over 90 top-tier degree programs, 100% online. With ASU's highly ranked online programs, you'll earn the same degree as our on-campus students, with the ability to learn wherever you want, whenever you want. Same world-renowned faculty, same leading education, same global recognition from one of the top universities in the world. Call 1-800-581-5369. That's 1-800-581-5369.
I'm Jamie from Sherman Oaks, and I just graduated with my degree from Arizona State University. I chose ASU because I received the quality education I deserve in the major I wanted, all from my home.
Jamie's not the only one to earn a degree from ASU. There are over 90 degree programs offered 100% online from one of the top universities. Now's the time to learn more about earning your degree online from Arizona State University. Call 1-800-581-5369. That's 1-800-581-5369.
The door opens at Midlothian Music. And just like that, you're a customer for life. With their huge inventory of hundreds of guitars, drum kits, and string instruments, they've got you covered. Midlothian Music, the largest American-made selection of handcrafted, name-brand instruments, lessons for every level of musician, and free lifetime in-house repair and service. Midlothian Music. After 54 years of success, they live and breathe music. Whether a beginner or a pro, Midlothian Music has the right equipment at the right price to make you a true rock star in your band or in your band. Talk to the pros in person 7 days a week. Midlothian Music, 708-403-3733, or visit midlothianmusic.com. That's midlothianmusic.com.
You're invited to the conservative event of the year, Freedom Summit Chicago. AM 560 The Answer is bringing in Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and a host of other conservative stars for a discussion of the 2016 presidential campaign and other issues facing our country. It all happens November 14th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Order your tickets at 560theanswer.com. And as conservatives from across the Chicagoland area gather to discuss these important national issues, what better place than this to discuss the issues you're facing in your own personal economy? AM 560's own Raj Shah, the host of Secure Retirement Radio, will be there as well. Join Raj Sunday mornings at 7 as he discusses rising taxes, government regulations, inflation, and helping build income for your future. Find out more at SecureCapitalUSA.com. Raj Shah, proud to support and sponsor Freedom Summit Chicago, presented by AM 560. The Answer.
Thank you so much for making us a part of your morning. Thanks to David Stripling, the technical director, Cesar Perez, the executive producer.
Shake and bake.
And to you. We'll see you back here at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, BNSF trains on the Metro line stopped near Harlem Avenue. Details from Jim Telemonte in traffic in a moment. And the Blues beat the Blackhawks in overtime. WIND Chicago News Time, 9 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony.
We cannot be certain that...
Well, it'd be big because it's the first since 9/11, basically.
A hug?
No, hey.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't hug either.
Right. I'm the same way.
You're the most.
Read the
You
handbook.
too. Is everybody from Northwestern the anti-hug?
I
Because
don't
my other
hug anybody.
bosses were from
My wife
Northwestern,
and
never
kids,
hugged.
and that's about all I hug. Everybody does is a handshake. You know, or
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
All good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right
Keep
back
it up.
at ya. Sorry about your team, Amy. You know.
Those girls, they didn't even break a sweat. I mean, they didn't even bother to pull their hair up. They got up, they pounded us. Overhand
Did your-
serves, jump
did
serves.
your boys win or
done.
no?
They tied.
Oh.
Russell scored 2 goals. He has 101 fever. The coach called me. He's like, we need him. He's our entire
So
team.
you missed your boys' game.
But we're having a 5-minute soccer game at 4 o'clock today.
Of course they tied it soccer.
It's soccer, right?
Yeah,
No,
of
so,
course.
but it got dark, so they couldn't finish.
Dark, right.
No, it got so it's at 4 o'clock today. Give us positive energy. Pray to God that Russell, that potion I gave him worked.
Someone to work on his basketball game. They're going to be tall.
He's so
Work on basketball.
No, but soccer helps him on the court. 'Cause
Well, that's
he's
true.
So quick.
Hand-eye. That's true.
Oh, he's so good. Oh my God! Even against the Latinos, when I'm like, oh wait, he is a Latino.
Right.
That one school showed up. They didn't even have shin guards. You know what they did? They put cardboard boxes they cut out as shin guards. I was like heartbroken. They're so sweet, but we beat them handily. Anywho.
Kicked him in the shins.